Chapter 1482. She's the first person who dares to treat that guy like this. Looking at the beautiful Jialo Kai Ling, Ouyang Shuang, Zhu Shui, Yi Zijin, Du Shaoqing, and Du Xiaoyao were dumbfounded. She was definitely the first person who dared to deal with Du Xiaofu. Sister, I don't want to trouble the clan with such trivial matters. I didn't mean to not inform you. Du Xiaofu gave up resisting. He knew the temper of his sworn sister, Jialo Kai Ling. That's more like it. Jialo Kai Ling's expression eased a lot. She let go of Yi Shiwen's hand and turned around to look at the great Luan sect. She curled her lips and said, "These guys who overestimate themselves dare to find trouble with you? Do you want to kill them all?" Hearing the beautiful woman's words, the surrounding people trembled. No one dared to speak. Where did these people come from? Why are they so overbearing? Seeing how the woman dared to treat the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, and the aura on her body were so overbearing that it made the surrounding experts tremble. "I'll deal with this trivial matter myself." Hearing Jialo Kai Ling's words, Du Xiaofu smiled bitterly. If he really angered his sworn sister, the entire Golden-Winged Rock clan might be attracted. In the end, the Great Luan sect would be completely annihilated. Although he wanted to annihilate the Great Luan sect, Du Xiaofu had never thought of testing the Golden-Winged Rock clan. He could borrow the power of others, but he didn't need to rely on others. His own strength was the true strength. Is that so? Jialo Kailing's eyes glowed with a faint golden light. She suddenly looked around the Great Will sect and spoke word by word. Her voice spread in all directions as if it could penetrate the clouds and crack rocks. She said, "Whoever dares to touch my younger brother, I will destroy your orthodoxy. If you don't believe my words, then go ahead and try." Who is this woman? She's so arrogant. The surrounding people were discussing. The beautiful woman was too overbearing. She didn't put anyone in her eyes. Boom! At the same time, there was a sudden explosion from the pile of rubble in the square. Aura soared into the sky, and light scattered in all directions. It was like a holy light soaring into the sky. Countless gravel shot out and swept out in all directions. The gravel could pierce through space, and even an ordinary martial honorable would be pierced through on the spot. When the gravel shot towards the crowd, it was immediately destroyed by the powerhouses in the various formations. Amidst the dazzling holy light that soared into the sky, the mysterious runes of the talisman burst out, and Dongli Chihuang appeared, spitting out blood in a sorry state. His crimson robes were torn and his golden hair was disheveled. At this moment, a bone-chilling coldness slowly surged from the depths of Dongli Chihuang's eyes. His spirit's gorgeous eyes coldly stared at Jialo Jueyu and Du Xiaofu, twitching violently. The aura in his body surged like an erupting volcano, as if it wanted to shake the void with the sound of wind and thunder. "Bastard, I am a Nirvana sovereign. Do you think I am so easy to deal with? Today, I will not let you off." Dongli Chihuang was enraged and his eyes were ferocious. His golden hair was disheveled and his crimson robes fluttered in the wind. Light enveloped the area as if a Nirvana sovereign was awakening. At this moment, the atmosphere in the surroundings suddenly became tense, and an aura that made one tremble swept through the air. Dongli Chihuang is fine. A Nirvana sovereign is not easy to deal with. The surrounding people were shocked and their eyes flashed. Everyone could feel that Dongli Chihuang's aura was rising and it was becoming more and more powerful. A Nirvana sovereign was definitely not easy to deal with. Perhaps Dongli Chihuang had been careless just now. Many people thought so. Boom! In just a short moment, a vigorous and violent aura suddenly burst out from Dongli Chihuang's body. It was like divine light gushing out and shook the entire Great Luan sect. Dongli Chihuang was a Nirvana sovereign. In his previous life, he was extremely powerful. As the saint of the Great Luan sect, he had studied countless mystiques and supreme arts. He was definitely not a weakling. Sacred light burst out and brought along an unparalleled pressure. At this moment, the surrounding people could feel the aura and tremble in fear. Walala! Dongli Chihuang's face was gloomy and furious. The sacred light around his body was resplendent and accompanied by the buzzing sound of wind and thunder. Dazzling sacred light soared in the air and formed a resplendent sea of sacred light. In the sea of sacred light, an ancient aura filled the air. It brought along a reincarnation radiance and burst out with a mysterious wave. It seemed to be able to remind people of their previous lives, and it constantly produced rumbling sounds. Under the terrifying aura, the disciples of the Great Luin sect seemed to be affected by it. They trembled and felt uneasy. In the sea of sacred light, Dong Liqiuang's body was sparkling and resplendent. It seemed to have started to expand and gradually turned into a giant that was dozens of feet tall. It was as if a god had descended to the world. That huge body stood in the sea of sacred light. The terrifying aura around it could devour everyone's cultivation and make them feel as if they were reincarnated. I am a nirvana sovereign. I control reincarnation and crush everything. Dong Liqiuang's body was entrenched in the sea of sacred light. His body emitted a dazzling light. His eyes were cold and his aura suppressed the surroundings. He also started to move towards Jialo Jueyu and Du Xiaofu. He was truly furious to the extreme. Dong Liqiuang is so strong. A nirvana sovereign is indeed not easy to deal with. Some of the onlookers exclaimed. At this moment, Dong Liqiuang's aura was even stronger than before. He stood up again and did not fall. Instead, it was even more shocking. As long as the holy sun doesn't fall, a nirvana sovereign is not easy to deal with. The disciples of the Great Luin sect, Sky Snake sect, and Spirit Sky Valley, who were silent and trembling in fear, immediately recovered from their shock when they saw the situation. Joy surged in their eyes. Dong Liqiuang was a nirvana sovereign and reincarnated. How could it be easy to deal with him? Confidence surged in their hearts again. Swish! Suddenly, there was an unforeseen event. Golden light spread out from the sea of sacred light. Silently, a huge golden ape appeared in the holy light ocean, and the holy light in the surrounding space rippled violently. The golden ape's golden eyes were intelligent. It was as if it was born with spiritual eyes that overlooked the world. Everything happened too fast. It was unbelievably fast. As the golden ape appeared, a terrifying aura erupted from its body. It was also like a nirvana sovereign as it directly punched out. That punch seemed to be able to sweep across the four directions and suppress everything. It was emitting a strange power. The bright talisman patterns were like a hazy mist. It was accompanied by a strong power of heaven and earth. It was like a golden sun. Looking at it carefully, this punch was like a golden divine mountain that fell from the sky from the 9 heavens. With a loud rumbling sound, this punch landed on Dong Liqiuang's huge and swollen body. The fist print appeared in the void along with a strange phenomenon. It merged with heaven and earth and disintegrated the surrounding sacred light. It shattered a large area of space, and a pitch-black vortex appeared. The terrifying aura caused the heaven and earth to tremble. Bang! Everything happened too fast. Dong Liqiuang's swollen body exploded under the suppression of that punch. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Then his body fell from the sky like a meteor. Bang, bang, bang. Dong Liqiuang's body directly smashed into the square below. It caused the ground to shake, the mountains to collapse, and the talisman arrays to shatter. The surrounding sacred light that had just erupted was instantly blasted and dissipated. A golden ape was in the sky. It was dazzling. Its body was wrapped in talisman patterns. It was full of vitality and connected with heaven and earth. It gave people a feeling of the beginning of heaven and earth. Waving the fist that had just punched out, the golden ape opened its mouth and said leisurely, "Motherfucker, I've been tolerating you for a long time. Nirvana is nothing. I'll go all out and kill you in minutes." Hearing the golden ape's words, everyone looked at the golden ape and felt their hearts palpitate. Gulp, gulp. After a while, the whole square was filled with gasps and gulps of saliva. There were also countless people who were trembling. They had goosebumps all over their bodies. The golden ape emitted a golden light. Then, it converged and turned into a human. It was a young man in a golden robe. Everyone around knew that it was a young man who had been following the demon king, Du Xiaofu. Some people who were familiar with him knew that it was Du Xiaoyao, who had always called Du Xiaofu brother. Gulp gulp. Jiu Ling of the Boundless Sect, Wu Ming of the Huijian Sect, Jiang Rollin of the Xindu Gate, Ming Rongyin of the Xinming Sect, and the others all felt that their throats were a little dry and hot. They swallowed hard. Du Xiaoyao turned around and looked back at Jialo Juiyu, Jialo Kaling, and the rest of the golden-winged rocks. Sima Taxing, Nanli Hun, Yu Xianzi, and the others who couldn't retract their jaws. She raised her golden spirit eyes and looked helpless. Finally, she said seriously, "I'm really sorry. I really couldn't hold it in. I couldn't hold it in. My state of mind is unstable. It's not good for my future cultivation. I will definitely control myself in the future." Hearing Du Xiaoyao's words, many people looked at her with disdain. Control your ass. Can you respect a supreme nirvana realm expert? Dongli Chihuang reincarnated. It wasn't easy for him to reach the supreme nirvana realm in this life. All of you, and now a monkey, are treating him like this? Is it really okay? After a short moment, amidst the sounds of gasping that rose and fell, some people started discussing and complaining for Eastern Flame's Scarlet Phoenix. On the 8th day of the 8th month, Dongli Chihuang must have done something wrong. In the Boundless Sect, an old monk pinched his fingers and calculated seriously. He felt that on the 8th day of the 8th month, Dongli Chihuang must have done something wrong. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been so ravaged. How can it be like this? Everything shouldn't be like this. Among the disciples of the Great Wheel Sect, the experts of the Spirit Sky Valley, and the Sky Snake Sect, some people shook their heads. Everything that happened today was completely different from what they had imagined. It was completely opposite to their plans. Chapter 1483. In a corner of the square, Cheng Chao was also dumbfounded. In his mind, his brother-in-law was already a supreme nirvana saint, so he should not be like this. Chi La, the ground trembled, and there was a faint fluctuation of holy light. The rubble on the ground of the square shook, and then a wretched figure wrapped in light crawled out again. Blood dripped from the corner of his mouth, and he was battered and exhausted. The one who crawled out was Dongli Chihuang, who had just been punched down by Du Xiaoyao. Dongli Chihuang stood up again. His red robe was even more tattered, and his golden hair was even more disheveled. His beautiful eyes were also filled with coldness, and they were also suffused with a blood-red color. Du Xiaofu looked at Dongli Chihuang, who had crawled out again, and his expression did not change much. With a thought, a light spread out from between his eyebrows. He waved his hand, and then a blood-red figure was caught in his hand. A bloody aura spread out, and it immediately attracted the attention of many people around. Dongli Chuang's cold eyes flickered, and he looked at Du Xiaofu. When he saw the blood-red figure in Du Xiaofu's hand, his expression changed, and his expression became even colder, with a touch of ruthlessness. At this moment, everyone saw that Du Xiaofu had caught an extremely powerful evil spirit. Dongli Chihuang, did you think that the evil spirit army would break into the Stone City today and take the treasures alone? Unfortunately, your plan doesn't seem to be very good. Du Xiaofu looked directly at Dongli Chihuang, and his eyes were filled with coldness. His voice spread out in all directions. You protected the evil spirits that fled to the Central State, and you formed the Evil Purifying Alliance to control them. You intended to control the Central State, and you lured the evil spirits into the desolate country. You wanted to use this to break the border. What? Those evil spirits were controlled by Dongli Chihuang? Is this true? Dongli Chihuang is the one who colluded with those evil spirits and deceived all the forces in the Central State. If this is true, then all the forces in the Central State have been played by Dongli Chihuang. As Du Xiaofu's voice spread out, all the forces in the Central State had a change in expression. Even the experts from the Spirit Sky Valley and the Sky Snake Sect immediately stared at the Eastern mythical Scarlet Phoenix. They did not know about the evil spirits, and if what Du Xiaofu said was true, then Dongli Chihuang was playing with them. There was also the matter of the evil spirits trying to snatch the treasures from the Stone City. If that was true, then the Eastern mythical Scarlet Phoenix simply wanted to swallow all the treasures in the Stone City alone. There were also the legendary treasures that the Du family definitely had. The Eastern mythical Scarlet Phoenix didn't even consider their share. The appearance of this scene had attracted the attention of the evil spirits, and all the forces had their eyes on the Great Luin sect, causing the experts in the Great Luin sect to frown. If all the forces were to attack the Great Luin sect together, then the Great Luin sect would not be able to contend against them alone. Kiki, if you want to condemn someone, you can always find a pretext. Everyone in the Central State knows that there are evil spirits in your desolate country's world society. Now that you have evil spirits following behind you, you still dare to accuse me of colluding with evil spirits. Do you think all the forces in the Central State are fools to believe your despicable plan of sowing discord? Dongli Chihuang sneered. So what if the blood soul was captured? As long as he refused to admit it, there would be no evidence. On the contrary, there were evil spirits in the desolate country's world society, and even Du Xiaofu had evil spirits following behind him. Not many people would believe it. Hearing Dongli Chihuang's words, many people's eyes flickered. There was no doubt that Dongli Chihuang's words made some sense. However, none of the experts who came to watch the ceremony were fools. Especially the forces in the Central State. They more or less understood the Demon King Du Xiaofu's character. This matter was probably not baseless. Who do you think you are? Why do I need to accuse you? I don't need anyone to believe me. It's fine as long as I know it. So what if I have evil spirits by my side? They are not evil spirits by my side, but disciples of my desolate country's world society. Du Xiaofu looked at Dongli Chihuang and said indifferently, I just want to tell you that your plan to monopolize the Stone City's treasures has failed. Also, I believe that you wanted to take the treasures for yourself and played Spirit Sky Valley and Sky Snake sect like fools. You really don't care about your friends. Poor Spirit Sky Valley and Sky Snake sect. Then, you used the appearance of evil spirits to trick the Immeasurable sect, Shindu Gate, Hui Sword sect, Profound Underworld sect, and others into joining the Purifying Evil Alliance. Your plan to control the Central State has also failed. Man proposes, God disposes. Qi La. As soon as Du Xiaofu finished speaking, the void in his hand began to distort. It distorted the blood soul, trying to crush it. The blood soul's aura collapsed. Dongli Chihuang, save me, save me. The blood soul screamed. He could feel the aura of death in the depths of his soul. That aura of death made him powerless to resist. He could only ask Dongli Chihuang for help. Dongli Chihuang's face was extremely gloomy. He stared at Du Xiaofu. He was indifferent to the blood soul's collapse. The coldness in his eyes became more and more uncontrollable. Dongli Chihuang, you bastard, shameless bastard. The Nirvana realm blood soul was crushed by Du Xiaofu in an instant. When the last words of resentment were uttered, the blood soul's soul shattered. It turned into a majestic blood soul's power and was thrown by Du Xiaofu to the phantom and blood vine spirit. Hua! The blood soul devoured the Shou Sha and soul evil spirit. The phantom and blood vine spirit leaped out. Their expressions were cold as they directly devoured the blood soul's remnant soul and the blood soul's power. As expected of the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. He's as domineering as ever. The Demon King, Du Xiaofu, is getting more and more treacherous. Looking at the expressions of the experts from the Spirit Sky Valley and Sky Snake sect, I'm afraid that they have really been tricked by Dongli Chihuang. Not only that, the Immeasurable sect, the Profound Underworld sect, the Intelligent Sword sect, and the Shindu Gate have also been dragged into this by the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. He mocked the 4 great sects for being used as pawns. I'm afraid that the 4 great sects will hold a grudge against the Great Luin sect now. The surrounding people spoke out secretly. Dongli Chihuang flatly denied that he had anything to do with the evil spirits, but the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, had no intention of proving anything. He even dragged the Spirit Sky Valley, Sky Snake sect, and the Immeasurable sect into this. This was equivalent to letting the Great Luin sect slap them in the face in front of everyone. Looking at the last evil spirit that cried for help and was killed by Du Xiaofu, no one was a fool. They were 90% sure that Dongli Chihuang had something to do with the evil spirits and had secretly schemed against the entire central region. The Great Luin sect has to give the entire central region an explanation for this matter. An old monk from the immeasurable sect spoke. His eyes were like lightning as the Buddhist beads on his chest glowed. He glared angrily and demanded an explanation from the Great Lun sect. If what the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, said was the truth, then the Great Lun sect would have to take responsibility for the countless immeasurable sect disciples that died in the central region's Chang River. The Great Lun sect has to explain this matter clearly. Some of the elders from the Xindu Gate, the profound underworld sect, and the Huijian sect also spoke out. Back then, they had already felt that they had been tricked by the Great Lun sect. Now, it seemed like they had been toyed with by Dongli Chihuang in the Evil Purifying Alliance. Facing the questioning of the immeasurable sect, the Huijian sect, and the other forces, it was clear that they had already believed Du Xiaofu's words. The faces of the Great Lun sect's experts turned gloomy. This is a misunderstanding, definitely a misunderstanding. Our Great Lun sect will never ally ourselves with the evil spirits. Some of the Great Lun sect's experts spoke out solemnly. Some elders even swore that if the immeasurable sect, the Huijian sect, and the others helped the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, then the Great Lun sect would be in big trouble. These elders of the Great Lun sect really didn't know about the evil spirits. Only 2 or 3 people in the entire Great Lun sect knew about the agreement between Dongli Chihuang and the evil spirits to prevent the news from leaking out. He spoke without thinking and killed the evil spirits. The dead tell no tales. This is a ruse to win over others to deal with our Great Lun sect. Dongli Chihuang spoke out. The dead tell no tales, so how could he admit it? If he did, then the consequences would be unimaginable. And Lingya, Shilongduan, and the others looked at the Spirit Sky Valley and the Sky Serpent sect and said, "Fellow allies, don't be instigated by that treacherous brat. He wants to drive a wedge between us so that he can defeat us one by one." The faces of the experts from the Spirit Sky Valley and the Sky Serpent sect turned gloomy. However, they couldn't say anything at this moment and could only endure it. As Dongli Chihuang had said, if the Middle Continent Sky Alliance were to split up, then they might be defeated one by one. If the Mysterious Talisman sect and the Ancient Sky sect were to join forces with the Desolate Country, then Du Xiaofu would definitely not let them off. At this moment, Enlingya, Shilongduan, and the others could only continue to join forces with the Great Lun sect, even if they were certain that Dongli Chihuang had tricked them. They were already on the same boat and there was no way out. Of course, Du Xiaofu is spouting nonsense. Naturally, we can't believe him. Du Xiaofu is extremely treacherous. He wants to destroy our alliance. How hateful! Shilongduan and Enlingya spoke out, expressing that they didn't believe Du Xiaofu. They also made a stance to the outside world to prove that the Middle Continent Sky Alliance was unbreakable. This was equivalent to believing Dongli Chihuang's words. However, the 2 of them were secretly sullen. After dealing with Du Xiaofu today, they would definitely have to give the Great Lun sect a proper explanation. Whether you believe it or not, you're just being toyed with by Dongli Chihuang. Du Xiaofu said faintly. His purple robe fluttered slightly. He ignored Enlingya and Shilongduan. Looking at the expressions of the major forces around, he knew that it was enough to make the Great Lun sect suffer. The Great Lun sect is doomed. Enlingya and Shilongduan are the ones who will suffer the most. Sima Taxing smiled secretly as he saw through everyone's thoughts. This guy is rumored to be ferocious and overbearing, but I didn't know that he's so vicious. Nan Li Hun raised his eyebrows. Today, the Demon King Du Xiaofu had made such a scene in public. Not to mention that the profound Xian sect, the Boundless sect and the Xindu Gate were furious and wanted to denounce the Great Lun sect. Dongli Chihuang's supreme nirvana had established the Middle Continent Sky Alliance and invited Kyushu to attend the ceremony. His purpose was to make a name for himself in Kyushu. Chapter 1484. However, the Great Lun sect was related to the evil spirits, and the other forces in the other 8 continents had been harmed by the evil spirits. Therefore, even if the Great Lun sect was fine today, the other forces in Kyushu would be wary of the Great Lun sect in the future and would keep a distance from them. The other forces might even reach a tacit agreement to stop the rise of the Great Lun sect. Du Xiaofu, you are slandering me. The dead tell no tales, and you still want to instigate discord? Today, I will not let you go. The Eastern Flame's Scarlet Phoenix shouted. He couldn't let Du Xiaofu speak anymore. He had never imagined that the Blood Souls would be exposed, and they would be captured in one fell swoop. Today, he had been oppressed time and time again, and everything had gone wrong. This made him completely furious. Boom! Dong Liqiwang's body did not seem to be affected by the tattered robe on his body. Once again, a bright sacred light gushed out from his body. I must endure. I must endure. I must overcome myself. I must endure. Du Xiaoyao muttered some words in her mouth. She appeared to be forcefully enduring something. That manner of shaking her head was extremely comical, causing quite a number of surrounding gazes to quietly reveal a helpless expression. The desolate country's debt of blood must be repaid with blood. Those who have nothing to do with this, please step down. Those who interfere are enemies and not friends. They will be killed together. Du Xiaofu glanced at the Eastern mythical Scarlet Phoenix and then looked around. His voice was mixed with profound energy and was abnormally domineering. At the same time, his purple robe fluttered and he waved his hand behind him. 8th of August, the Great Luan sect will be bathed in blood. As Du Xiaofu waved his hand, Du Yunlong stepped out. Lightning filled the surroundings. His shout was like a clap of thunder. Boom! Suddenly, as Du Yunlong's shout fell, the space far away from the Great Luan sect trembled. Then, waves of aura burst out from the horizon and soared into the sky. Roar! In an instant, the roar of beasts was like thunder. The roar of beasts was deafening. In the next moment, the ground trembled and the mountains shook. Countless huge demonic beasts appeared and rushed over. Walala! At the same time, countless ferocious birds screeched in midair. Strong winds blew, and countless ferocious birds spread their wings, covering the sky and covering the earth. On the 8th day of the 8th month, the great wheel will be bathed in blood. Shouts came from the distant sky and shook the clouds. As the earth shook and the clouds surged, countless armies appeared in the air in front of them. They were like a swarm of locusts, pressing down on the sky. In midair, countless warships and war chariots occupied the area. There were experts riding on ferocious demonic beast mounts, holding sharp weapons in their hands. They were shrouded in light, and their auras were fierce. It's the Desolate Nations World Society, Profound Talisman Sect, and Ancient Heaven Sect's armies. They really want to massacre the Great Luan sect. With such a huge army bearing down on the border, the terrifying army of demonic beasts and the elites of the three major forces, even some of the more knowledgeable experts felt their hair stand on end. Many experts narrowed their eyes and sighed. A bloody battle was unavoidable today. No matter who won or lost, it would be a disaster for the Central Plains. It was the prelude and beginning of chaos for the entire Central Plains. Roar! In front of them were figures that covered the sky and the earth. The roars of the beasts were like thunder. Countless powerful demonic beasts moved horizontally, crushing the earth. The ferocious birds spread their wings and swept across with a storm. Tens of millions of elite troops covered the sky, with warships and war chariots in front of them. They were extremely powerful, and their killing intent was swift and fierce. Along with their battle cries, it resounded throughout the Great Luan sect. On the Great Luan sect, all eyes were looking forward, and their eyes were trembling. With such a lineup, the elites of the Great Luan sect had all come out, causing many experts on the Great Luan sect to turn pale. Everyone thought of the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, and the Ancient Heaven sect. The Profound Talisman sect was going to attack the Great Luan sect, but they did not expect such a lineup. Roar! The mysterious Dragon King, the Stone Turtle King, the Flame Carp King, the subduing Tiger Tyrant Mastiff, the Golden Python King, and the other huge demonic beasts directly moved over. Their roars shook the clouds, and those who were watching from afar with insufficient cultivation felt their bodies go soft and almost collapsed. The vast army stopped in front of the mountain gate of the Great Luan sect and did not immediately go up the mountain. In front of the mountain gate of the Great Luan sect, many disciples of the Great Luan sect were trembling. They hid in the mountain gate, not daring to go out. Looking at the army in the sky that was filled with killing intent, the disciples of the Great Luin sect were terrified. They no longer had the arrogance of a disciple of the Great Luin sect. What should we do? What should we do? The army is pressing down on us, and we are unable to resist it. Where are the experts of the sect? Why are they not coming down the mountain? The disciples of the Great Luin sect in front of the mountain gate looked at each other, and their hearts were trembling with fear. Although the Great Luin sect had hundreds of thousands of disciples, they did not even have the heart to resist against the army that was like a swarm of locusts. Du Xiaofu, is this what you are relying on? Don't tell me you want to rely on this to touch my Great Luin sect. You are too childish, hee. The auras of the vast army in front of the Great Will sect's mountain gate and the roars of the demonic beasts were like thunder. However, no one paid any attention to the Eastern mythical Scarlet Phoenix. She continued to laugh coldly as she looked at Du Xiaofu and said in a deep voice, "The reason why we allowed you to come here is because we want to finish this once and for all. Since you are here, don't leave." As Dongli Chihuang finished speaking, an elder in the Great Luin sect's formation understood and waved his hand. A stream of light soared into the sky and exploded in midair. The resplendent light was like fireworks in the white sun, illuminating the mountains and the earth. Woo woo. When the bright light was withdrawn, a strange sound erupted from the depths of the mountain behind the Great Luin sect. It rumbled and the aura soared into the sky, causing the earth to shake. Rumble. Wind and clouds suddenly surged in the sky behind the Great Luin sect, accompanied by the roars of beasts. Woo woo. The bugle horns sounded and the war drums were hammered. The war chariots and warships covered the sky. Countless people surged up the mountain behind the Great Luin sect and occupied the sky. Countless war chariots appeared on the left and right sides of the Great Luin sect. There were also giant snakes and ferocious birds that overlooked the land. The three armies formed a triangle and surrounded the armies of the Desolate Country, World Society, Ancient Heaven sect, and Mysterious Talisman sect. The armies on the left and right sides of the Great Luin sect were the armies of the Spirit Sky Valley and Sky Snake sect. The army behind the Great Luin sect was the army of the Great Luin sect. There were also many other smaller forces that had more than 3 times the number of the Desolate Country's World Society's army. It is the army of the Central Region Sky Alliance. The Great Luin sect, Spirit Sky Valley, and Sky Snake sect are already prepared to welcome the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. The experts of the Great Luin sect looked in all directions and were moved. The Great Luin sect was also fully prepared. In addition, this was the territory of the Great Luin sect. They had already set up an ambush without leaving any traces. They were waiting for the arrival of the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, Ancient Heaven sect, and Mysterious Talisman sect. They wanted to kill the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, Ancient Heaven sect, and Mysterious Talisman sect. No wonder the Great Luin sect could allow the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, and the others to come to the sect. They were already prepared. Exclamations were heard. Such a turn of events surprised the experts of the 4 forces, but it seemed to be within their expectations. Sima Taxing, Nenli Hun, Master Apothecary Yi Wuming, Gu Qingyang, Honored Golden Rock, and Zhu Shui looked at the 3 armies of the Great Luin sect. In the mysterious underworld sect's formation, Ming Rong looked at the formation of the 2 forces. His eyes flashed with a complicated expression as if he was making an important decision. Crack crack, but in the end, a jade slip quietly appeared in Ming Rong's hand. He crushed it and everything happened silently. The 2 armies covered the sky and the earth. The crowd covered the mountains and rivers. With the Great Luin sect as the center, the sky and the earth were filled with people and beasts. Terrifying auras gathered and solidified the world. Ferocious auras filled the air and murderous auras soared to the sky. Kiki, Dongli Chihuang laughed. His hair danced in the wind and his tattered red robe fluttered. His entire body fluctuated with sacred light and a terrifying aura. He looked at the 3 armies and stared at Du Xiaofu. He sneered, "Now, what qualifications do you have to come to my Great Luin sect? You are overestimating yourself." What a joke! Du Xiaofu looked at the countless armies around him. His gaze swept across them slowly, but his expression did not change much. All of this was within Du Xiaofu's expectations. How could the Great Luan sect not be prepared when they barged into their territory? There are quite a lot of people. Looking around, Du Xiaofu said faintly. The army prepared by the Great Luan sect was at least 3 times larger than the army of the desolate country's world society. Since they are here, then none of them can escape. Let's end everything today. Dongli Qihuang sneered. It did not matter if the blood soul failed. As long as everything was settled today, they could get rid of their biggest threat. By then, the entire middle region would be as he wished. Coupled with the plan that he had been preparing, the entire Kyushu would not be able to stop the rise of the Great Luan sect. Boom! There were waves in front of them again. A terrifying aura soared into the sky. Black warships came from the void. Countless black chariots flew across the sky with the insignia of the mysterious underworld sect on them, proving that they were the army of the mysterious underworld sect. Roar! There were demonic beast mounts roaring. Behind them were millions of soldiers. This army was considered small compared to the army of the desolate country's world society and the Great Luan sect. However, this army was definitely the best of the best. It did not take long for the army to reach the mountain gate of the Great Luan sect, facing the army of the desolate country and the world society. Haha, it seems like the mysterious underworld sect wants to deal with Du Xiaofu as well. Welcome to the mysterious underworld sect. Everyone in the middle region has the responsibility to cleanse the evil spirits and slay the demons. Looking at the army of the mysterious underworld sect, Dongli Qihuang was overjoyed. Not long ago, the Demon King had gone to the underworld lake and destroyed the mountain gate of the mysterious underworld sect. He had crippled 2 martial domain realm experts. Now that the army of the mysterious underworld sect had arrived, Dongli Qihuang did not need to think too much to know that the army of the mysterious underworld sect was here to deal with the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. Now that the Great Luan sect had received the help of the mysterious underworld sect, the ancient heaven sect, the mysterious talisman sect, and the others would not have the chance to rise again. Ming Rongyin walked out from the mysterious underworld sect. However, he did not care about Dongli Qihuang's words. He waved his hand slightly and turned into a ray of light, shooting into the sky. Chapter 1485. The mysterious underworld sect is here to help the desolate country. As the flowing light shot out from Ming Rongyin's hand, shouts could be heard from the mysterious underworld sect's army, shaking the clouds. Everyone on the Great Will sect was stunned when they heard this loud cry. No one had expected that the mysterious underworld sect's army would not appear to deal with the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. Instead, they were here to help the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. Didn't the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, go to the underworld lake not long ago and tear down the mysterious underworld sect's signboard? What's going on? Many people were shocked. The Demon King, Du Xiaofu, had just shown off at the underworld lake not long ago. He had crippled a martial domain realm expert of the mysterious underworld sect and tore down the mysterious underworld sect's signboard. However, the mysterious underworld sect's army was here to help the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. Dongli Qihuang had been extremely pleased with himself. He had thought that the mysterious underworld sect's army was here to help the Great Luan sect and wanted to settle the score with Du Xiaofu. He had never expected such an outcome. This was simply a slap to his face. The mysterious underworld sect's army had come to the desolate country's aid. This caused the experts from the Spirit Sky Valley and the Sky Serpent sect to look unsightly. What is the mysterious underworld sect trying to do? Dongli Qihuang's face darkened as he looked at the mysterious underworld sect's experts with a gloomy gaze. Nothing much. The Great Luan sect has allied with the evil spirits and schemed against the various major forces in the central region. They want to control the central region and their ambitions are clear. The mysterious underworld sect will not stand by and do nothing. We will naturally suppress them. Ming Rongyin spoke. His voice was loud and his words were filled with righteousness. These words were made up by Ming Rongyin on the spot. Of course, no one present was an idiot. The demon king Du Xiaofu had just revealed that Dongli Qihuang was secretly colluding with the evil spirits, and the profound underworld sect's army of millions had immediately appeared. This was definitely not the decision of the profound underworld sect. It was obvious that the profound underworld sect's army had long since made preparations to come and assist the demon king Du Xiaofu. The concealment techniques of the profound underworld sect's army are truly terrifying. Some people were shocked. Looking at Dongli Qihuang's expression, the Great Wheel sect probably didn't know that the mysterious underworld sect's army had arrived. There were only two possibilities. The profound underworld sect's army had just arrived, or they had been hiding nearby for a long time. The Xianming sect must have used the Manchues underwater methods to sneak in through the waterways. They must have hidden themselves well and avoided the eyes of the Great Luen sect. An elder said. He was knowledgeable and had heard many secrets. He knew that the Xianming sect had an extremely powerful underwater concealment method. If that's the case, does the Xianming sect intend to collude with the Ancient Heaven sect and become enemies with the Sky Alliance in Middle Ground? Don't make a single mistake that will cause everlasting regret. Think about the price that the Xianming sect has paid. Why do you want the Xianming sect to be consigned to eternal damnation? Dongli Qihuang's face was gloomy as he spoke to Ming Rongyin and the other Xianming sect's experts. You should be the one who makes a single mistake that will cause everlasting regret. The Great Wheel sect has colluded with the evil spirits and schemed against the various major forces in Middle Ground. They will definitely be consigned to eternal damnation. Ming Rongyin spoke. He then led the Xianming sect's experts across the sky and landed near Du Xiaofu. He cupped his fists and said, "The Xianming sect will lend the Huang country a helping hand today." "Thank you." Du Xiaofu did not seem to be too surprised as he nodded and smiled at Ming Rongyi. Zhen Qingchun, Master Alchemist, Nanli Hun and the others were secretly surprised. They did not expect Du Xiaofu to destroy the Xianming sect's mountain gate and severely injure a martial domain realm expert of the Xianming sect. Under normal circumstances, it would be enough to make the other mountain sects bear a grudge and view them as mortal enemies. They did not expect the Xianming sect to directly help them at this moment. It is said that the sect master of the Xianming sect has been handed over to Ming Rongyin. That lad is making a bet. He is very bold, Sima Taxing said softly. We are still at a disadvantage at this moment. There are many people in the world who would add flowers to a brocade, but who would help us in our hour of need. Ming Rongyin's boldness is not ordinary. He is making a big bet this time. Honored Golden Rock smiled. His eyes flickered with golden light as he admired Ming Rongyin of the Xianming sect. Good, good, good. On the ruins of the square, Dongli Qihuang laughed and said the word, good, 3 times in a row. Everyone could feel the gloomy hatred in his laughter. As soon as Dongli Qihuang finished speaking, he no longer concealed his gloomy expression. He looked at the experts of the Xianming sect, the Desolate Country, the Ancient Heaven sect and the Mysterious Talisman sect and said, it's just one more Xianming sect. It won't change the outcome. Then let's fight. Du Xiaofu took a deep breath and his aura began to fluctuate. Today's battle was unavoidable. Hee, do you really think you are qualified to enter my Great Luen sect? Ridiculous. I have to admire your courage. If you dare to enter my Great Luen sect, I can destroy you with a flip of my hand. Dongli Qihuang looked coldly at Du Xiaofu. He was fully prepared. The Great Luen sect was his territory and everything was under his control. He originally thought that Du Xiaofu would not dare to enter the Great Luen sect, but he did not expect that Du Xiaofu would really come. Everything was going according to his plan. If I dare to enter the Great Luen sect, it means that I don't put the Great Luen sect in my eyes. Du Xiaofu said. His purple robe fluttered and he stood with his hands behind his back. There was a majestic aura and luck supporting him, overbearing and disdainful. Du Xiaofu was not a fool to dare to enter the Great Luen sect. This was the Great Luen sect with countless years of history. How could it be so easy to enter the sect? The Great Luen sect must have made preparations. If it was not for the fact that they had something to rely on, Du Xiaofu naturally would not have entered the Great Luen sect. Du Xiaofu, this time we came here because of Grandma's instructions. If the small Great Luen sect does not have eyes, then we can directly destroy them. If there is a problem, Grandma will take care of it, Jialo Kai Ling said to Du Xiaofu. This was what her grandma told her when she left the clan. And I understand. Du Xiaofu felt warm in his heart. He did not expect that this matter would alarm his grandma. Who is that girl? Why is she so overbearing? The surrounding people were puzzled as they could not guess Jialo Kai Ling's identity. Hearing Jialo Kai Ling's words, Qi Huang's face turned gloomy. She snorted, but looking at Jialo Jueyu, who was beside Jialo Kai Ling, she was more or less afraid. Dongli Qi Huang and Jialo Jueyu had just fought and was beaten up. He knew that Jialo Jueyu was from the Beast clan. After that move, he could not guess the true origin of Jialo Jueyu. However, he could clearly feel that Jialo Jueyu was from the Beast clan and was definitely from a big clan. Suddenly, many of the top experts in the Great Luen sect seemed to have felt something and looked in front of them. Shang Prefecture's Sa Meng Sword sect is here for the Great Luen sect. In an instant, a loud shout could be heard from afar. Then a group of people flew across the sky. They were as fast as lightning and were wrapped in rainbows that shone brightly. There were only about 1,000 people in that group. However, every one of them was an absolute expert. Shang Prefecture's Sun Moon sect is here for the Great Luen sect. Shang Prefecture's Red Lotus sect is here for the Great Luen sect. Shang Prefecture's Heavenly Star sect is here for the Great Luen sect. Shang Prefecture's Leader Qingdao sect is here for the Great Luen sect. Shang Prefecture's Unmi sect is here for the Great Luen sect. Shang Prefecture's Fu Xing sect is here for the Great Luen sect. Shang Prefecture's Jiahua Mountain is here for the Great Luen sect. As the Sa Meng Sword sect's voice spread, a few more shouts could be heard. The shouts shook the clouds as a total of 8 groups of people arrived. There were only about 1,000 people in each group, but they were all experts. The weakest among them was a high-level martial royal realm expert. It was obvious that there were martial domain realm experts in this group. There were at least 20 martial honorable realm experts in each group. There might even be more. When the 8 groups of powerful people arrived, they saw the figures of the Great Luen sect standing together. Their auras soared to the sky. In a few flashes, they also arrived at the Great Luen sect and landed in the sky above the square. A formless, vast, and vigorous aura fluctuated and froze the surrounding space. Damn. 1 mountain, 1 island, 2 religions, and 4 sects. These are the 8 major forces of the Shang province. Why are the 8 major forces of the Shang province all here? Are they also here to watch the Great Luen sect's ceremony? Oh my god! The 8 major forces of the Shang province are all here. They must have emptied the entire Shang province. Damn it! The 8 major forces of the Shang province are all here. They even brought so many experts. They must be here to attack our central province. As the 8 groups of people appeared, the various forces of the Great Luen sect were shocked. The 1 mountain, 1 island, 2 religions, and 4 sects of the Shang province were equivalent to the 1 valley, 2 religions, 3 sects, and 3 sects of the central province. They were the 8 most powerful forces of the entire Shang province. At this moment, the 8 major forces of the Shang province had all appeared on the Great Luen sect. It made people think that the Shang province might have come to attack the central province. The 8 groups of people stood together, which added up to less than 10,000 people. However, the formless aura of these 10,000 people was more powerful than the aura of the hundreds of millions of troops in the distance. It was enough to invade the entire central province. In the sky, a young man walked out in front of the 8 groups of powerful people. He was about 26 or 28 years old. His body was filled with simple and elegant runes. He was extraordinarily handsome and his robe was embroidered with sword patterns. His appearance immediately attracted the attention of the various major forces of the central province. This man was Mu Jianshan of the Sa Meng Sword sect. He was one of the 12 heroes of the Tianhuang mainland. Many experts of the central province had seen him when he fought for supremacy in the Tianhuang mainland. In particular, Jiao Ling, Dongli Qi Huang, Zhu Shui, Xiang Ling, Jiang Rolan, and Ming Rongyin had all come into contact with Mu Jianchen. He was definitely an extremely terrifying existence among the younger generation. Congratulations to the saint of the Great Luin sect for achieving nirvana. Congratulations to the establishment of the Heaven Alliance in the Central Province. Congratulations. Mu Jianchen walked out and looked at the Eastern mythical Scarlet Phoenix with a smile in his eyes. Oh no, however, when Mu Jianchen finished speaking, Sima Taxing, Nanli Hun, Venerable Golden Rock, Elder Gu Qingyang, Ouyang Shuang, Yi Zijin, Master Apothecary Yi Wuming, Zhen Qingchun, and Ming Rongyin of the Stygian sect were all shocked. It seemed like the entire Shang prefecture came to congratulate the Great Luin sect and also to help the Great Luin sect. Chapter 1486. These are the experts from the 8 major forces of Shang Prefecture. They have come to help the Great Will sect. No wonder the Eastern Parting Crimson Phoenix opened its doors. It turns out that it has such a backing. It has secretly recruited the entire Shang Prefecture. The Ancient Heaven sect is unlucky. They are no match for him. Dongli Chihuang is really something. He has secretly roped in the entire Shang prefecture and tricked the Ancient Heaven sect and the Profound Talisman sect. The various superpowers of the Great Wheel sect were shocked. Based on Mu Jianchen's words, it seemed like he was here to congratulate Dongli Chihuang for achieving nirvana and to the establishment of the Heaven Alliance in the Middle Prefecture. With the help of the experts from the 8 superpowers of Shang Prefecture, the Desolate Country, the Ancient Heaven sect, the Profound Talisman sect, and the Mysterious Underworld sect were no match for the Great Will sect. There were many experts among the 8 superpowers of Shang Prefecture. Although there were not many of them, they were all top experts. The lineup of the 8 superpowers of Shang Prefecture was strong enough to invade the entire Middle Prefecture. Dongli Chihuang has achieved nirvana and has a bright future. The superpowers of Shang Prefecture are trying to rope him in, hoping that he can help them in the future. Some experts guessed that the 8 superpowers of Shang Prefecture had come because of Dongli Chihuang's status as a nirvana supremacy. The Ancient Heaven sect is dead for sure. Many of the top powers in the Great Wheel sect were secretly delighted at this moment. The younger disciples of the Great Wheel sect were even more excited. The 8 superpowers of Shang Prefecture had come to help, which was enough to easily annihilate the Ancient Heaven sect, the Profound Talisman sect, and the Desolate Country. Although Dongli Chihuang was surprised that the 8 superpowers of Shang Prefecture had come, he immediately smiled. In Tianhuang mainland, Dongli Chihuang had met Mu Jianchen and some of the younger generation of the various superpowers. The 8 superpowers of Shang Prefecture had come to the Great Will sect with so many experts and were rather polite. Naturally, they were here to help the Great Will sect. They could not be here to help Du Xiaofu. I didn't expect Sa Meng Sword sect and all of you to come. Many thanks. If I had known earlier, I would have welcomed you. Dongli Chihuang cupped his hands towards Mu Jianchen to express his gratitude. He felt even more confident in his heart. He was a supreme nirvana. Kyushu was shaken, and Shangzhou came to court. How could Du Xiaofu compare to him? There's no need for that. Whether you welcome me or not won't change the outcome. Since the Great Luin sect has attacked the Desolate Country's world society, it means that they're going against the entire Shang state. The Shang state's Purifying Evil Alliance has crossed the continent to massacre your Great Luin sect today. Before Dongli Chihuang could finish her words, Mu Jianchen's expression suddenly changed under the stunned gazes of the countless people in the surroundings who had yet to react. As soon as Mu Jianchen's voice faded, he turned around and no longer paid any attention to the stunned Eastern departing Crimson Phoenix. His figure descended from the air and landed beside Du Xiaofu. Without any scruples, he patted Du Xiaofu's shoulder and said, "I'm not late, am I?" There were too many people, so it was a little troublesome to pass through the wormhole. By the time everyone gathered, it took quite a bit of time. There were still many forces who were rushing over and were delayed in the wormhole. Calm words, calm expression, handsome face, spirited eyes, deep as the sea, these were the words that Mu Jianchen said while patting Du Xiaofu's shoulder. Sa Meng Sword sect has specially come to assist the Desolate Country's world society. Attacking the desolate country's world society means that you're going against the entire Shang state. Today, we're going to massacre the Great Luin sect. Hahuan School, Sun Moon sect, Dragon's Hui, Heavenly Star sect, Everclear Island, Wumi sect, Supporting Star sect, and Mount Jihua have come to assist the desolate country's world society. Today, we're going to massacre the Great Luin sect. At the same time, among the people from the 8 superpowers in Shang state, there were experts and disciples who shouted in unison. Their voices shook the clouds. Dongli Qiwang's smile froze on his face. His gaze fiercely twitched. To him, this was heaven just a moment ago, but in an instant he had fallen into hell. It was a slap in the face, a slap in the face. It was a resounding slap. At this moment, the faces of the Great Luin sect's disciples and experts were frozen in an extremely awkward state. They originally thought that Shang state had come to assist the Great Luin sect. Who knew that the entire Shang state had come to assist Du Xiaofu in massacring the Great Luin sect? What the hell is going on? The surrounding superpowers were also confused at this moment. This scene had changed too quickly. It was so fast that they couldn't recover from the shock for a moment. The 8 superpowers in Shang state had actually sent out an army of experts just to assist Du Xiaofu. Offending the desolate country was the same as offending the entire Shang state. How deep were their feelings for each other to be able to do this? Mu Jianchen seems to be taking liberties with Dongli Qihuang. Among the countless stunned gazes, there were some extraordinary people of the younger generation who were smacked their lips. No, this isn't taking liberties. Mu Jianchen is directly raping Dongli Qihuang. An extraordinary young fatty said. His eyes were shining with dazzling light. Poor Dongli Qihuang. Mu Jianchen didn't even put him in his eyes. Taking liberties, this is blatant taking liberties. Among the crowd, there were people who felt indignant for Dongli Qihuang. The 8 superpowers in Shang state have come to assist that guy? Sima Taxing, Nanli Hun, Ouyang Shuang, Yi Zijin, Master Apothecary, Yi Wuming, and even Du Yunlong were all shocked. No one had expected the situation to change like this. The entire Shang state had actually come for that guy. No wonder that guy had full confidence in going to the Great Will sect. He had already secretly roped in the 8 superpowers in Shang state. It's alright, it's alright. Within the profound underworld sect's formation, many experts, including Ming Rongyin, secretly heaved a sigh of relief. They were originally opposed to the profound underworld sect sending out an army to assist the Demon King Du Xiaofu on the 8th of August. However, Ming Rongyin had the backing of the profound underworld sect's old ancestor. Under Ming Rongyin's insistence, they couldn't do anything. The old ancestor had already let Ming Rongyin make the decision. They didn't dare to disobey. When they saw that the 8 superpowers in Shang state had come, the entire profound underworld sect's experts trembled. They felt that the profound underworld sect would be implicated and fall into an irrecoverable situation. With the entire Shang state assisting the Great Wheel sect, the Desolate Country, and the Ancient Heaven sect, they wouldn't be able to resist. However, when they saw the change in the scene before them, their nervous hearts finally relaxed. They finally understood in their hearts that no wonder the Demon King Du Xiaofu dared to directly attack the Great Luin sect. It turned out that he had already secretly contacted the 8 great factions in Shangzhou. Shang state's Baiyun Valley is here to assist the desolate country. Suddenly, a loud shout resounded from afar. Shang state's Qiyushan is here to assist the desolate country. Shang state's Fiery Sun Cave is here to assist the desolate country. In an instant, loud shouts resounded from afar. Groups of people filled the sky. All of them were absolute experts. The groups of people flew across the sky. The auras of martial honorables and 8-star spiritual talisman masters were everywhere. There were also quite a number of domain realm experts. Baiyun Valley, Fiery Sun Cave, and the others were the top superpowers in Shang state. At that moment, there were no less than 30 to 40 superpowers. All of them responded to the call and came to assist the desolate country. The entire Shang state is here. Oh my God, all of the experts in Shang state are here to assist the desolate country. The Demon King Du Xiaofu actually has such charisma. Everyone in the Great Wheel sect was shocked. Countless experts descended from the sky in front of the Great Wheel sect. At that moment, it wasn't just the 8 superpowers in Shang State. All of the experts in Shang State had come to the Great Wheel sect to assist the Demon King Du Xiaofu. Boom! The space trembled and the ground cracked. Many experts were enveloped in light and shone on the Great Wheel sect. The light was dazzling. There weren't many experts from the various superpowers in Shang State. There were only about 10,000 of them. However, the terrifying aura they emitted indicated that they were all elites. It could be said that any one of these people in Shang State was at least an emperor. However, all of them had come to assist the desolate country. Oh my God, how lucky is Du Xiaofu to be able to get the entire Shang State to assist him? Someone couldn't help but tremble and cry out in surprise. All the superpowers in Shang State are here to assist him. This Demon King Du Xiaofu is unprecedented. An elder sighed and his eyes flickered with excitement. Du Xiaofu looked around. Those who had arrived were all experts that he had met before in Shang Province. Apart from some martial domain realm experts, he had never met them before. 3 months ago, when he asked the Moon Shadow Hall to inform them to go to Shang State, Du Xiaofu only informed the Hehuan School and the Seimin Sword Sect. After all, he wasn't familiar with the other superpowers. However, Du Xiaofu didn't expect that the entire Shang State would come to help him. He had seen these superpowers in the sealed ancient land in Shang State. They remembered your kindness, so they crossed continents to come and help. Du Xiaofu felt warmth in his heart. Back then in the sealed ancient land in Shang State, he didn't risk his life for nothing. They didn't forget and came to repay him this time. Thank you for coming to help. Greetings to all the seniors. Du Xiaofu cupped his hands and thanked the experts of the various superpowers in Shang State for coming to help. Little friend, there's no need to be so polite. The entire Shang State is behind you. Do whatever you want. We will definitely lend you a hand. From the Seimin Sword Sect, a white-haired elder walked out. He carried a sword on his back and his eyes flickered with sword radiance. The entire Shang State will help you wash the Great Wheel sect in blood. All the experts spoke, their voices shaking the clouds and deafening the ears. They were grateful for Du Xiaofu's help in the sealed ancient land. If it wasn't for Du Xiaofu, the entire Shang State would have been annihilated. They remembered his kindness and didn't forget it. This time, after receiving news from the Seimin Sword Sect, they discussed and came to help. We have allies coming to help us. The armies of the Desolate Country, Ancient Heaven Sect, and Profound Talisman Sect could clearly hear the deafening shouts. Countless experts came to help the Desolate Country, causing the Desolate Country's World Assembly Army to feel their blood boil. Their auras surged and their sharp auras became denser. Whoosh whoosh, in the air, there was another violent commotion. In the direction where the experts of Shang State came from, a large number of figures flew out again. Rumble, the earth shook and the mountains shook. Auras filled the sky. Warships flew through the air with war chariots in front. Demonic beasts roared as millions of figures covered the sky like dark clouds. Which superpower is that? The expressions of the Great Wheel Sect's experts changed. The commotion in front of them made them look at each other. Not long after, the millions of troops stopped outside the Great Wheel Sect, facing the other armies. The Hehuan School of Shang State is here to wash the Great Wheel Sect with blood. Hehuan School's disciples greet the sect supervisor. The army stopped as some experts flew up to the Great Wheel Sect. The millions of troops behind them shouted in unison. In the air, the warships, war chariots, and demonic beasts all knelt down to greet the sect supervisor. The sound waves dispersed the clouds in the sky. As the millions of voices filled the sky, in front of the Great Wheel Sect, countless roars filled the sky. They exploded from all directions like endless thunder. Tianhuang Cliff, Tianhuang Leopard, leads the army to help the desolate country. Whoever dares to touch my brother, I will not let them go. Great Desolate North Pole Cabinet Ghost Chariot leads the 9-headed Phoenix clan back to the Heavenly Beast Hall. Those who invade the desolate country will be killed without mercy. Beast Region Heavenly Tiger Mountain's Spirit Fantasy Tiger King leads the Tiger Clan back to the Heavenly Beast Hall. Those who invade the desolate country will be killed without mercy. Beast Region's Wild Forest Wild Bear King leads the Bear Clan back to the Heavenly Beast Hall. Those who invade the desolate country will be killed without mercy. Beast Region's Winged Dragon King leads the Flood Dragon Clan back to the Heavenly Beast Hall. Those who invade the desolate country will be killed without mercy. Chapter 1487. The Divine Ape King of the Beast Region's Celestial Monkey Mountain has returned to the Heavenly Beast Hall with the Ape Clan. Those who invade my desolate country will be killed without mercy. The Beast Region's Chi Hongu, the Silver-Blooded Leopard King, has returned to the Heavenly Beast Hall with the Leopard Clan. Those who offend my desolate country will be killed without mercy. The Wind and Cloud Eagle King of the Beast Region's Astral Ridge has returned to the Heavenly Beast Hall with the Eagle Clan. Those who offend my desolate country will be killed without mercy. The Lightning Wolf King of the Beast Region's Desolate Plains has returned to the Heavenly Beast Hall with the Wolf Clan. Those who invade the desolate nation will be killed without mercy. Deafening roars and shouts resounded through the air like rolling thunder. In front of them, the ear-splitting roars of demonic beasts rose and fell one after another. Wave after wave of demonic beast armies appeared one after another. This monstrous beast army was no ordinary monstrous beast army. The nine-headed Phoenix clan of the Great Wasteland's North Pole Cabinet was a terrifying race. It was rumored that they were a powerful race that could directly contend against the dragons and phoenixes. The Tiger Clan of the Heavenly Tiger Mountain of the Beast Region was a terrifyingly large clan of Yao beasts. The bears of the wild forests of the Beast Region weren't inferior to the tigers. There was also the Beast Region's Flood Dragon Clan and the Beast Region's Celestial Monkey Mountain's Ape Clan. They were all incredibly powerful clans in the Beast Region. Any of these demonic beasts had bloodlines that were at the top of the Heavenly Beast list. They were all powerful forces like Kyushu, and the ancient Heavenly Sect were deeply afraid of them. And now, dozens of such terrifying beasts had crossed continents from the Beast Region to aid the desolate nation. What made the billions of people in the Great Wheel Sect tremble the most was that these terrifying demonic beasts actually announced that they had returned to the Alpha Hall. This undoubtedly proved that they were the demonic beasts of the Heavenly Beast Hall. The Heavenly Beast Palace was no stranger to the people of the Central Region. It was a terrifying demonic beast palace with Du Xiaofu as its palace master. Du Xiaofu looked up at the sky, and a smile appeared on his face. The Gui Che, the Phantom Tiger King, the Raging Bear King, and the others had finally joined the fray. Du Xiaofu could tell from the overwhelming presence that the Gui Che and the others had brought quite a few peak experts with them. In fact, there were clearly some beast domain experts among them. Heavens! Demon King Du Xiaofu is going to conquer the entire central continent. Nine-headed Phoenix Clan, Tiger Clan, Bear Clan, Flood Dragon Clan, Ape Clan. Heavens, is this real? All the beasts of Tianhuang mainland are here. Who can tell me what's going on? The Demon King, Du Xiaofu, seems to be the supervisor of Hehuan School. Is this also true? On the Great Wheel Sect, everyone was trembling in shock. Countless people were dumbstruck. That terrifying aura swept over, and even the domain realm experts present began to tremble. After all, even if the 8 great powers of Shangzhou had only sent 2 experts at the domain realm, and the other great powers had only sent 1 expert at the domain realm. So, there were over 60 experts at the domain realm. There was also the group of extremely ferocious beast domain experts from the beast domain. Even if each clan only sent 1 beast domain expert, that would still be 50 to 60 beast domain experts. In total, there were over 100 experts at the domain realm. In reality, the number of experts at the domain realm was only a conservative estimate. More than 100 domain experts gathered. What kind of lineup was this? It was absolutely terrifying. They are all our reinforcements. They are all here to help our desolate country. It seems like there are also beast domain experts from the Heavenly Beast Hall. They must be the beast domain experts that recently followed our Rock Emperor. At this moment, reinforcements from all directions had come for the Desolate Country's World Assembly. Many people in the Desolate Country's World Assembly army felt their blood boil. They couldn't help but shed tears of excitement. The disciples of the Desolate Country's World Assembly had never known that the Desolate Country's World Assembly had such a reputation. At this moment, reinforcements from all directions had come for the Desolate Country's World Assembly. This made them feel deeply proud and encouraged. A deep sense of belonging surged from the depths of their hearts. Whoosh whoosh. A figure descended from the sky. The first was a woman in a dark purple dress. Her skin was as white as snow, and her eyes were clear and flowing with multicolored light. She was exceptionally enchanting and seductive. Her beauty was soul-stirring. Beside this enchanting woman was an extremely beautiful woman. She looked to be in her 30s, but she looked extremely young. She wore a white dress and had a thin layer of makeup on her face. The tip of her eyebrows and the corners of her eyes were filled with lust. Her watery eyes looked as if they were about to drip water. She had a faint smile that was enough to move the hearts of all men in the world. She was alluring. Beside this alluring woman, there was another woman with ink-like eyebrows and cherry-like lips. She was as beautiful as the autumn waters. The woman's silky hair was tied with a pale yellow ribbon. Her silky hair hung down to her waist. Her slender waist was so small that one could barely grasp it. Her temperament was ethereal and elegant. These three women were extremely seductive. At this moment, there were many experts with powerful auras following behind them. Du Xiaofu naturally knew these people. The three women at the front were Su Muxin, Tang Meiling, and Jiyin. The three of them led the experts from Hehuan School and the army to the Great Luan sect. When they saw Su Muxin, Tang Meiling, and Jiyin, especially when they looked at Su Muxin, her enchanting beauty moved Ouyang Shuang and Yi Zijin. Even Phantom and Du Xiaoqing were stunned by her beauty. In mid-air, Su Muxin landed beside Du Xiaofu. Her purple dress fluttered slightly, and her body was wrapped in multicolored light. Her every movement exuded a noble and dignified aura. She opened her red lips slightly and said in a heavenly voice, "The Hehuan School is behind you. We will advance and retreat together." Du Xiaofu looked at the enchanting yet dignified and noble woman in front of him and nodded slightly. He stomped his foot on the ground and a golden light flashed. He leaped into the air and waved his purple robe. He said to the Hehuan School army, "At ease." "Thank you, sect supervisor." Millions of Hehuan School disciples stood up with reverence in their eyes. Their voices were loud. "Brother Xiaofu, Tianhuang continent awaits your orders." The Desolation Leopard led the army of savage beasts from Tianhuang continent. Several experts from the army landed. Their auras were shocking and froze the void. "Thank you, Commander." Du Xiaofu smiled. The vast army of savage beasts was still gathering. How shocking was that? "Father! Godfather!" Blue Fantasy and Scarlet Rock leaped into the air and arrived beside the Desolation Leopard. "Greetings, Hall Master." In the air, figures with ferocious auras that caused the Great Luan sect to tremble descended. They were Gui Che, Spiritual Fantasy Tiger King, Violent Bear King, Little Ing Ing, Space-Rending Demon Blade Falcon, Divine Ape King, and Fire Drake King. They had rushed to the Great Luan sect and even brought many experts from their respective races to help. One could imagine how majestic they were. Without a doubt, they were much more majestic than the reinforcements from the entire Shang state. The ferocious and domineering aura of the top beasts was even more shocking. It made one's hair stand on end and their souls feel uneasy. "Rise." Du Xiaofu waved his sleeves and stood in the air. The army of demonic beasts behind him stood together. They were domineering as they looked disdainfully in all directions. Gui Che, Spiritual Fantasy Tiger King, Violent Bear King, and other terrifying existences exuded an ancient ferocious aura. The army of demonic beasts in the Heavenly Beast Hall and many of the demonic beast mounts of the various factions wanted to prostrate themselves. Gugu, someone in the profound underworld sect's lineup, sucked in a breath of cold air. As he looked at the lineup that had gathered around Du Xiaofu, he swallowed his saliva. Then, many of the Stygian sect's experts turned to look at the Stygian sect. A thought suddenly appeared in their minds. No wonder the old ancestor only gave the sect master to Ming Rongyin. This kid definitely had foresight and courage. The Great Luan sect is finished. I'm afraid this time, the Great Luan sect, Spirit Sky Valley, and Sky Snake sect are all finished. The various factions that had retreated to the side were all dumbfounded. Some of the elders were so shocked that they couldn't retract their jaws for a long time. There were also people who felt their bodies go limp under the terrifying aura. At this moment, the Great Luan sect, Spirit Sky Valley, and Sky Snake sects lineup, as well as the various factions that had followed them, felt as if they had fallen from heaven to hell. They could only watch helplessly as waves of terrifying forces came together. The arrival of those terrifying auras was enough to make one's heart tremble in fear. There was also the army of demonic beasts from the Beast region. Those were dozens of powerful races from the Beast region. Even the ferocious army of the savage beasts from the Tianhuang continent had come. For the Sky Alliance of the Central Plains, it was difficult to even have the heart to resist. What should we do? We've been surrounded. There's so many demonic beasts. It's too scary. There's no way to deal with it. At this moment, the hundreds of millions of soldiers in the Sky Alliance of the Central Plains outside the Great Luan sect were even more terrified. Originally, the Sky Alliance of the Central Plains had 3 times the number of soldiers compared to the desolate country's world society. However, all of a sudden, the hundreds of millions of soldiers in the Sky Alliance of the Central Plains were faced with the reinforcements from the desolate country and the powerful demonic beasts that blotted out the sky. Under the ferocious and peerless aura, the hundreds of millions of soldiers in the Sky Alliance of the Central Plains trembled. Their souls felt uneasy. Not good. This is really not good. The experts of the Sky Snake sect and Spirit Sky Valley approached Dongli Chihuang with extremely grave expressions. The faces of Snake Dragon Duan and Enlingya darkened. Their expressions were extremely unsightly. At this moment, facing the entire Shang province, as well as the dozens of powerful Yao clans on the heavenly beast ranking from the Beast region, even the conceited Heavenly Snake sect and Spirit Sky Valley couldn't be arrogant anymore. At this moment, Cheng Chao's body was trembling. He felt like he was going to collapse. His body was going soft. This was definitely not the result he had imagined. Cheng Xingnan looked at the sky ahead. She looked at the violet-robed young man who stood proudly on the Great Will sect and looked down upon the surroundings. Behind him was a group that was terrifying like a legend. Her eyes were filled with unconcealable fluctuations. The corners of Dongli Chihuang's eyes twitched violently. The corners of his mouth also twitched. It seemed like he was injured. His blood and qi were in turmoil, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 1488. Looking at the scene in front of him, the dense and mighty army of Shang province and the ferocious beast tide was definitely not the result that Dongli Chihuang had expected. Dongli Chihuang had never thought that Du Xiaofu would be able to summon so many terrifying helpers. However, at this moment, the commotion in front of the Great Will sect seemed to have yet to completely subside. Far in front of them, there were waves once again, causing many experts to raise their eyebrows. In the distant sky, from the vast and mighty army and ferocious aura, a flowery fragrance suddenly filled the air. The fragrance of the flowers spread with the wind, causing those who smelled it to feel relaxed and happy. At the same time, from the sky in front of them, countless petals fell down along with dazzling and resplendent runes. As they got closer, hundreds of figures appeared. When these hundreds of figures appeared, they looked at the densely packed figures in front of the Great Will sect and went straight up to the Great Will sect. These hundreds of figures consisted of men and women, old and young, but all of them had an extraordinary temperament. Those old and middle-aged men each emitted a powerful pressure, causing those who looked at them to feel a sense of extreme danger. Many young men and women stood tall and straight with cold expressions. The aura that faintly emitted from their bodies was also very shocking and fierce. The most eye-catching one was a peerless beauty in front of these hundreds of figures. She wore a lotus-colored gauze robe, with silver strands of hair tied up. Faint runes fluctuated around her, as if there was a mist around her. Her skin was sparkling like snow. The beauty's eyes were full of charm, causing many men to be dazed, as if their souls had been sucked out. She's here. In the world society, the 18 heavenly guards looked at the peerless beauty, and their expressions changed. In the various major forces of Shang province, in the various mountain sects of the central province, Mu Jianchen, Jiuling, Jiang Ruoling and the others were looking at the peerless beauty with astonishment in their eyes. She's here. Yi Piaoling raised his head and looked at the peerless beauty. His pitch-black eyes moved slightly, and his thin lips curled up. I Hua Zimo am one of the 12 godly heroes. The Demon King Du Xiaofu is the leader of the 12 godly heroes. Our qi is connected, and we lead the 100-flower gate to help. Hua Zimo opened her mouth and opened her mouth. Her voice was pleasant to the ears and spread throughout the Great Luan sect. So she is 100 Flowers Gate's Hua Zimo, one of the 12 heroes. Many people's expressions changed. The names of the 12 godly heroes had already spread throughout Kyushu. 100 charming thousand tender flowers Zimo, the proud daughter of Wanzhou's 100 Flowers Gate. Rumor has it that her natural beauty is astonishing and she is as beautiful as a fairy. At this moment, when the crowd saw her personally, many men were boiling with excitement. Her beauty and temperament caused ordinary men to simply not dare to approach her. Thunder State's Heavenly Thunder Fortress's 12 heroes, Muchinga, has come to assist the Demon King Du Xiaofu. Boom! Almost at the same time as Hua Zimo's voice fell, in front of the Great Lun sect, there was a thunderous laughter. Suddenly, the wind and clouds surged, bringing with it lightning and thunder. Yu State's Snow City's Wind City's 12 heroes, Feng Wuxia, has come to assist the Demon King Du Xiaofu. Cloud State's Heavenly Music Sect's 12 heroes, Yuzheng Tongxian, has come to assist the Demon King Du Xiaofu. Ning State's Golden Spear Gate's 12 heroes, Bailey Wia, has come to assist the Demon King Du Xiaofu. One after another, shouts spread in all directions. Following the arrival of 100 Flowers Gate's Hua Zimo, another 4 terrifying groups of people appeared. A thin and slender youth led a terrifying group of people up to the Great Luan sect. He was not very old, and his body was rippling with lightning. His shoulder-length brown hair fluttered in the wind. His eyes were deep and full of spirit, as if there was lightning flickering in his pupils. He was one of the 12 heroes, Lei State's Heavenly Thunder Fort's Muchinga. A purple-haired man stepped out. His face was extremely beautiful, his eyebrows were like willows, his body was like jade, and his long purple hair draped behind his neck. It was enough to move the hearts of countless women. He was also one of the 12 heroes, Yu State's Snow City's Feng Wuxia. A woman whose beauty and temperament did not lose out to Hua Zimo crossed the space and leaped onto the Great Luan sect. Her face was delicate and elegant, so refined that it did not have the slightest trace of the mortal world. Her white pleated skirt fluttered in the wind. The woman stood in the air. She looked quiet and elegant, like a budding hibiscus, untainted by even a speck of dust. However, if one looked carefully, the aura on her body was terrifyingly powerful. Especially her pair of beautiful eyes, they were like black holes. If one looked into them, their soul would be sucked away. She was also one of the 12 heroes, Cloud State's Heavenly Music Sect's Yuzheng Tongxian. Finally, a man with a golden spear led a terrifying group of people up to the Great Luan sect. He looked to be about 26 or 28 years old. His facial features were as if they were carved by a knife, and his entire body emitted a fierce aura. He was once one of the 12 heroes in Tianhuang mainland, Bailey Wia of Ning State's Golden Spear sect. These extraordinary young men and women in Kyushu came forward. Their voices echoed in the Great Luan sect, resounding in all directions. At this moment, billions of people, especially the younger generation of the various major forces, heard the voices reverberating in the air. Their blood could not help but surge, and their hearts could not help but boil. The 12 heroes, although they were from Tianhuang mainland, represented the strongest existence of the younger generation in Kyushu. Dongli Chihuang was one of them. At this moment, a few of the 12 heroes appeared one after another. They were all here to help the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. The Demon King, Du Xiaofu, how magnificent was he! One of the 12 heroes, Shangguan Qi Xian, known as the Zither Demon. Inside the World Society, the Zither Demon, Shangguan Qi Xian, could not hold back as he looked at the people who were once as famous as him. He flew out and faced Bailey Wuya, Yuzheng Tongxian, Feng Wuxia, Mu Qingge, Mu Jianchen, and the others from afar. Their voices were mighty and spread in all directions. However, the Zither Demon, Shangguan Qi Xian, glanced at Mu Qingge, Mu Jianchen, and Bailey Wuya. He smiled helplessly and said, "Sorry, I joined the World Society long ago." Hearing this, Bailey Wuya, Mu Jianchen, Mu Qingge, Yuzheng Tongxian, and the others could not help but roll their eyes at the Zither Demon. Looking at the reinforcements coming from all directions, Du Xiaofu did not even send out a request for help. In Tianhuang mainland, these people only regarded him as the leader of the 12 heroes. At this moment, they had crossed over thousands of miles to come and help. At this moment, the blood in his heart was boiling. "Du Xiaofu, I'm here. Many thanks to everyone." Du Xiaofu cupped his fists. Golden light surged from his body and his aura caused the clouds to move. "You are the leader of us. We are of the same breath and branch. Those who touch us will be destroyed." Mu Qingge spoke. Lightning flashed on her body and her voice was like thunder. It contained a domineering and powerful aura. "Big sister, what should we do now? What should we do?" Cheng Chao quietly retreated to Qing Xingnan's side. His body was trembling. At this moment, under the terrifying lineup of the Great Wheel sect, even his primordial spirit was trembling. Cheng Xingnan glanced at Cheng Chao, who was beside her. There was a hint of helplessness in her eyes. She did not say anything. Then, she raised her head slightly and looked at the purple-robed young man in front of her. At this moment, even the strongest existences in the 9 states had to acknowledge him as their leader. He had even caused the easternly red phoenix to lose its luster. Everything that used to be related to her was no longer the same, but the people had changed. Reinforcements from all directions. They are the reinforcements of our Huang country. The Rock Emperor raised his arm and called for Kyushu to come and help strengthen our Huang country. Those who offend our Huang country will pay with blood. Today, we will wash the Great Wheel sect with blood. Within the Huang country's army, countless people raised their arms and shouted. Their eyes were burning with passion. The sound waves gathered and rushed into the sea of clouds, surging through the 9 heavens. On the Great Wheel sect, everyone was trembling as they looked at the purple-robed man in the sky. He had once subdued Kyushu's peers and made them respect him as their leader. At this moment, he raised his arm and called for Kyushu to come and help. What kind of transcendence was this? That is my disciple. Since he came from Shi City, he has come all the way to this point. I am satisfied with my life. Elder Gu Qingyang's white robe fluttered in the wind. He had the demeanor of a transcendent being. However, at this moment, hot tears appeared in his eyes. Last Shui was right. Within the Xian Talisman sect, Nan Li Hun raised his head and looked at the purple-robed man in the sky. He was filled with emotions. The rumored ferocious young man was not only powerful, but he also had a kind of charisma. Now that Kyushu had come to help, it was not as simple as strength and talent. More importantly, it required a sufficient charisma. The various forces on the Great Wheel sect looked at the purple-robed man and Dongli Qihuang. Suddenly, they felt that the legendary nirvana of a sovereign was nothing. Standing in front of the purple-robed man, the light on Dongli Qihuang's body dimmed. Why, Dongli Qihuang spat out another mouthful of blood. His hair was disheveled and his eyes were red. He was in a daze. Dongli Qihuang did not understand. He was puzzled. As a nirvana of a sovereign, his future was limitless and he could reach the peak in the future. But now, Dongli Qihuang could not understand why the various forces would abandon him, a nirvana sovereign, and join Du Xiaofu's side. He had reincarnated and lived 2 lives, but he could not defeat that kid. The Eastern mythical Scarlet Phoenix was unwilling to accept this. This time, his nirvana of a sovereign was enough to stand proudly at the peak of middle ground. He was comparable to the legendary existence. Dongli Qihuang originally thought that he could change everything. He could rope in everyone and easily trample that kid to death. In front of his nirvana of a sovereign, that kid was destined to be a stepping stone. But Dongli Qihuang did not expect that his nirvana of a sovereign would be abused continuously. First, Cheng Xingnan wanted to break off the engagement. Then, he was trampled by the mysterious beastman and Du Xiaoyao. In the end, even the various major forces did not take his nirvana stage sovereign seriously, and they all submitted to that brat one after another. How could Dongli Qihuang be willing to accept all this? How could he not be resentful? I hate it, I hate it. Dongli Qihuang lamented in his heart. He was furious and his eyes were bloodshot. Not good, this is not good. At this moment, in Lingya, Shilongduan, and the others' expressions changed. They were already in despair when facing so many forces. They did not expect that in the end, even the Sky Thunder Fortress, Snow City, Heavenly Music Sect, 100 Flowers Sect, and Golden Spear Sect would join in the fun. One must know that these forces of the Sky Thunder Fortress were definitely not inferior to the Great Luin Sect and Sky Snake Sect. They were all equally famous. Although Hua Zimo, Bailey Wuya, Mu Qingge, and the others were from the younger generation, their status in the sect was very high. However, the status of these young people in the Mountain Gate was very high. Their attitude undoubtedly represented the attitude of the entire Mountain Gate behind them. It was the tacit approval of the Mountain Gate behind them. Otherwise, they would not have brought so many experts here. This is the Great Luin Sect. Don't you think it's a little rude to come to our sect? Don't tell me you don't put our Great Luin Sect in your eyes? Finally, someone from the Great Luin Sect could not bear it anymore. An old man walked out. Runes flickered on his body as if he was enveloped in a halo. His voice was deafening and filled with anger. It's not that we don't put it in our eyes, but we have never looked at it in the eye. Jialo Kai Ling spoke. Her faint golden eyes rippled. Indeed, she had never put the Great Luin Sect in her eyes. What a domineering woman. Hearing Jialo Kai Ling's words, Mu Qingge, Yuzheng Tongxian, and the others were surprised and curious. Do you really think our Great Luin Sect is easy to bully? That old man was furious. He glared at Jialo Kai Ling as if he was going to spit fire. Then he looked at the various forces of the Great Luin Sect and shouted, "Those who have nothing to do with the desolate country's world society, it's not too late to back out now. Our Great Luin Sect can pretend that nothing happened. Otherwise, we will activate the sect-guarding formation." Talk too much. I'll kill you first. A crisp and moving voice suddenly sounded. It was filled with unparalleled dominance. Like a sudden clap of thunder, a beautiful and alluring figure leaped out. A terrifying aura swept out. It was filled with the aura of a supreme beast, causing everyone to tremble. But I can guarantee that I'll love any girl who has wasted my pen and ink. Chapter 1489. The graceful figure instantly appeared in front of the old man, causing the surrounding space to freeze. The old man's expression changed drastically, but his face also turned gloomy. Clang! At the same time, the aura of the early martial domain realm surged from the old man's body. Dazzling runes were released like holy light and turned into a treasured saber. The saber slashed through the void, revealing a pitch-black spatial crack under the saber light. It was deep and terrifying, and it instantly attacked Jialo Kaling. Jialo Kaling's expression didn't change at all. She simply ignored it. She waved her delicate hand, and a golden light burst out like the sun. It vaguely turned into the wings of a rock. Across the distant space, under everyone's astonished gazes, it directly shattered the saber light that had slashed through the void. Bang! A terrifying golden light then engulfed the old man's body. In just an instant, the old man's eyes were filled with fear for some reason. Then, under the impact of the golden light, his body turned into a bloody mist. With one move, an early martial domain realm cultivator was smashed into pieces. He couldn't even withstand a single blow. Goo goo! There was a short moment of silence. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, and some people were terrified. The martial domain realm and beast domain realm experts present couldn't hide the shock in their eyes. They couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. What a domineering woman. She is indeed qualified to be domineering. Who is that woman and where did she come from? Countless gazes from all directions were secretly shocked. That beautiful and provocative woman had always been domineering, but she was definitely qualified to be domineering. Smashing a Great Wheel Sex martial domain stage expert to death with a single move, just how terrifying would his true strength be? Du Xiaofu, Gui Che, Guchinamo, and the others faintly smiled. They weren't surprised at all. The old man from the Great Wheel sect had just reached the martial domain realm, and Jialo Kaling had just reached the beast domain realm. However, how could ordinary cultivators of the same level be a match for the golden-winged Great Rock clan? This was especially so for someone like Jialo Kaling, who was one of the top bloodline practitioners of the golden-winged Great Pengbird's younger generation. Any martial domain realm cultivator who had just entered the martial domain realm would be instantly killed by her. The Eastern mythical Scarlet Phoenix regained his senses after a series of unforeseen events. Not far from him, a supreme elder of the Great Wheel sect was instantly killed. This caused his expression to become cold and sinister. Dongli Qiwang's original magnificent soul and extraordinary temperament were no longer present. His eyes flashed with a cold light, and his messy hair fluttered in the wind. An awe-inspiring chill spread out from his body. This is disrespect to my Great Luan sect. You are provoking my Great Luan sect. No matter who you are, you will pay the price today. In an instant, all the experts from the Great Luan sect were enraged. In the Great Luan sect, in front of the 9 regions, right under their noses, a supreme elder was killed in one move. This kind of humiliation and face-slapping had reached the point where the Great Luan sect could no longer tolerate it. The Great Wheel sect is nothing. Jialo Juyu stepped out and swept his gaze across the experts of the Great Wheel sect. Although he was a peak Nirvana beast sovereign and hadn't yet reached the beast region, he was still arrogant when facing the beast region cultivators of the Great Wheel sect. It was just like how the disciples of the Great Wheel sect didn't put the rogue cultivators and small forces in their eyes. However, Jialo Juyu's expression was even more domineering and arrogant. You're so young and yet you're so arrogant. Even if you're from a large clan in the beast region, this is the Great Wheel sect. You can't behave so atrociously, shouted a middle-aged man from the Great Wheel sect. His aura was surging violently. He was a sealed domain realm cultivator. As he spoke, he used his terrifying sealed domain realm aura to attack Jialo Juyu. He wanted to deal with Jialo Juyu. Is the Great Wheel sect used to being shameless? Du Xiaofu's figure appeared in front of Jialo Juyu. A formless aura swept out from his body and knocked back the middle-aged man's aura. Suddenly, a huge spatial wave appeared in the air. The martial domain realm cultivators and many extraordinaries saw through this formless confrontation. They were surprised by Du Xiaofu's actions. The sealed domain realm middle-aged man from the Great Wheel sect was also very surprised. Du Xiaofu, you came to my Great Wheel sect and brought people to kill my elder. This is a provocation to my Great Wheel sect, said an old man from the Great Wheel sect. His eyes were wide open and suffused with a scarlet color. His face was ferocious. However, it wasn't difficult to feel that the old man was very afraid of Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu brought such a terrifying lineup to the Great Wheel sect. This was enough to raise the Great Wheel sect to the ground. Even if the Great Wheel sect was able to protect itself today, the prestige and power that the Great Wheel sect had established in the Middle State for countless years would vanish and their reputation would be ruined. This isn't a provocation. I want the Great Wheel sect to pay with their blood. Du Xiaofu said plainly. This wasn't a provocation. He was here to collect his debt. Bastard, do you really not put my Great Wheel sect in your eyes? Do you really think that my Great Wheel sect is easy to bully? Kid, you will regret it if you don't put my Great Wheel sect in your eyes. Du Xiaofu's words were overbearing. The group of old men from the Great Wheel sect could no longer hold back their grievances. A junior from the desolate country's world society that had emerged for less than 10 years was actually suppressing the Great Will sect that had countless years of history. How could they accept this? How could they not tolerate this? A bunch of old fogies are too noisy. It is only right for them to pay with their blood. Du Xiaofu's eyes flickered with golden light as killing intent flashed across them. He opened his mouth slightly and a voice filled with killing intent resounded throughout the Great Will sect like thunder. You dare to touch my desolate country and kill my disciples. Pay with your blood. Kill. His voice reverberated and the clouds moved in all directions. Rumble. As Du Xiaofu's voice resounded, the warships in front of the desolate country's army roared and released the first terrifying energy attack. Someone activated a sharp technique and charged towards the Great Wheel sect's Mountain Gate disciples at lightning speed. Dozens of Great Wheel sect's disciples who were shivering in fear were blasted into a bloody mist. Kill! Rumble! In an instant, a chain reaction occurred. Shouts of killing resounded throughout the Great Wheel sect. Countless demonic beasts roared and charged towards the Sky Alliance's army in the middle state like a storm. The warships moved horizontally and the war chariots exploded. The sky outside the Great Wheel sect started to tremble and explode in a split second. Kill! Annihilate the Great Wheel sect. The Ancient Heaven sect, Mysterious Talisman sect, Mysterious Underworld sect, Hahuan School, Savage Beast Tide on the Tianhuang mainland, and dozens of top beast armies in the beast region erupted at the same time. It all happened in an instant. The talisman inscriptions shone brightly and the beasts roared deafeningly. Countless energy attacks, remarkable skills, doctrine weapons, and talisman weapons enveloped the Sky Alliance's army in the middle state like a storm. Along with it was a ferocious aura that suddenly spread. Rumble, the ground shook and cracked. Mountains collapsed and huge waves were stirred up in the space. The sky was filled with talisman inscriptions. A great battle was about to break out. Bang, bang, bang. The Sky Alliance's army in the middle state, who had been in shock, was immediately blasted into a bloody mist. They exploded in midair and turned into ashes. Defend! Quickly set up a defensive formation. The experts in the Sky Alliance's army in the middle state shouted. The Sky Alliance's army in the middle state immediately recovered from the shock and set up a defensive formation. However, the Sky Alliance's army in the middle state had no way of defending against the attacks of the savage beasts on the Tianhuang mainland, the Sky Beast Hall's army in the beast region, and dozens of powerful beasts on the heavenly beast ranking. Instantly, a large number of the Sky Alliance's army in the middle state were unable to withstand the attacks. They vomited blood and flew into the air. Some of them were smashed into pieces and devoured by the beasts. The Sky Alliance's warships were also smashed into pieces by the huge beasts. The chariots were also crushed. The ferocious beast army was undefeatable and unstoppable. The ferocious beasts roared ferociously and crushed mountains and rivers. The ferocious birds flapped their wings to form storms and overturn space. The earth-shattering attacks were enough to make the Sky Alliance's army in the middle state tremble in fear. They were unable to resist. The armies of the Mysterious Underworld sect, Mysterious Talisman sect, Ancient Heaven sect, Wasteland Country's World Society, and Hahuan School followed behind the Beast Army. They swept through everything in their way. In just one exchange, the earth outside the Great Will sect was already shaking. It was as if the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. The sky was densely covered with runes. Blood splattered and screams of agony could be heard. The Sky Alliance of the Middle State was no match for them. Blood for blood. The Wasteland Country's World Society's army had been bullied by the evil Purifying Alliance at the Middle State's Long River. At this moment, they were killing fiercely. They rushed into the Sky Alliance's army and killed their enemies. The eruption of the Great Army immediately created a terrifying and vast battlefield. Rumble, all kinds of superpowers and energy attacks drowned the heavens and the earth. The wind and clouds surged in all directions. There were muffled sounds in the sky and on the ground. Countless figures of the Sky Alliance's army in the Middle State were drowned in the energy. They disappeared and their souls were destroyed. Those who offend the world society, kill. Gu Zhangyu stood in the air and waved his hand. Countless puppet armies appeared and rushed into the Sky Alliance's army. As soon as the killing machines appeared, the Sky Alliance of the Middle State was frightened. They were in no hurry to retreat. They had already suffered a great loss from the puppet army at the Middle State's Long River. Kill! The disciples of the Du family, Du, Du Shui, Du Hao, and the generals of the Tianwu Academy, Gu Xinyan, Li Yuxiao, and the others attacked. Rumble! These terrifying youths flew out. Runes shone brightly as dark clouds gathered. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The sky was filled with thunderbolts. When these guys attacked, it was a nightmare for the Sky Alliance's army. No one could stop them. Some of the extraordinary youths of the Great Luen Sect, Spirit Sky Valley, and Sky Snake Sect in the Middle States Heaven Alliance were like lambs in a tiger's den when they encountered Du Shui, the generals, and Gu Xinyan. Ah, the screams were drowned out by the sound of the explosion. The battlefield was in chaos. In an instant, blood flowed like a river. It was extremely tragic. Bastard, do you really think that the Great Luen Sect can't handle this? Activate the array, activate the array. An elder of the Great Luen Sect shouted. His voice was sharp and resentful. The expressions of many experts in the Sky Snake Sect and Spirit Sky Valley changed. Their faces were extremely gloomy. Rumble! The heavens and earth trembled. It came from the depths of the heavens. In an instant, a terrifying aura descended from the Great Wheel Sect as if it was from the 9 heavens. Chapter 1490. That aura seemed to have traveled across time and space to descend, causing a divine halo to appear in the sky above the Great Luen Sect. It was as if a peerless existence had torn the sky apart and was about to cross over from the ancient world. Streaks of resplendent light descended from the sky as if they had spread out for thousands of kilometers. They were accompanied by a terrifying and mysterious power. Rumble! At that moment, the ground inside and outside the Great Luen Sect could not withstand the terrifying and mysterious power and collapsed. Pitch-black spatial cracks appeared in the sky. The light shrouded and turned into thousands of huge light pillars, descending inside and outside the Great Luen Sect. It enveloped the core of the Great Luen Sect and vaguely formed a terrifying array. Under the terrifying power, the mountains and rivers collapsed and the rivers moved. Rumble! A black abyss appeared on the ground. Under such terrifying power, the desolate country's army, the savage beasts of the Tianhuang continent, the demonic beast army, the battleships and youths of the profound talisman sect were greatly affected and turned into blood mist. Spirit Sky Valley, Sky Snake Sect, what are you waiting for? Activate the array. Looking at the countless light pillars descending from the sky, Dongli Chihuang raised his head. His eyes were cold as his gloomy voice resounded through the clouds. Activate the array. Within Spirit Sky Valley and Sky Snake Sect, an expert suddenly shouted, shaking the clouds. Activate the array. In the blink of an eye, hidden experts from the Heavenly Snake Sect's army in the Spirit Heaven Valley suddenly leaped into the air, thousands of miles away from the Great Will Sect. They formed hand seals at the same time, and some of them held secret treasures. They vaguely formed a mysterious angle and activated the array flags that had been set up long ago. Sky Snake Array. Within the Sky Snake Sect's army, many experts shouted and activated the array. Suddenly, a vast amount of energy surged out from the sky, causing the wind and clouds to surge and the world to riot. In midair, a massive array that spanned several thousand kilometers appeared in midair. Roar! It was a terrifying array that almost enveloped the entire Sky Snake Sect's army. A light barrier covered it and vaguely formed the shadow of a huge black serpent. The huge black serpent shadow spanned thousands of miles across the sky. The visual impact was shocking. At this moment, the frightening pressure that was being emitted from the enormous black snake formation that spanned thousands of miles caused the expressions of the martial domain experts, who could vaguely see from the Great Will Sect, to change. Sky Slaughter Formation. At the same time that the black snake formation appeared, Many hidden powerhouses rushed out from Spirit Heaven Valley's army. They let out heaven-shaking roars and activated a huge formation that also covered thousands of kilometers in the sky. Rumble. When this formation appeared, its might was no less than that of the giant black snake formation. Its might was terrifying, and it covered a radius of several thousand miles. It appeared in a way that blotted out the sky and covered the sun. Bang 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 bang, in the blink of an eye, the desolate nation, ancient heaven sect, and other armies, as well as the beast tide, who were trapped by the sky snake sect and spirit sky valley's armies, exploded under the formless pressure. In both the dark underworld sect and spirit heaven valley, there were powerful cultivators controlling the formation and starting to kill in all directions. The desolate nation's world assembly, ancient heaven sect, profound talisman sect, and dark underworld sect had people who died one after another. The Sky Snake sect's 10 Directions Sky Snake Formation and Spirit Heaven Valley's Sky Slaughter Formation are the two sects' protective formations. They were secretly moved to the Great Wheel sect. Many elders in the Great Wheel sect, Ancient Heaven sect, Profound Talisman sect, Dark Underworld sect, and Boundless sect exclaimed in shock. Seeing the two huge formations set up by the Sky Snake sect and Spirit Heaven Valley outside the distorted space above the Great Wheel sect, the martial domain experts gasped. No one expected the Sky Snake sect and Spirit Heaven Valley to move their sect's protective formations to the Great Wheel sect. This was definitely a premeditated plan by the Great Wheel sect to capture the Desolate Nation, Profound Talisman sect, and Ancient Heaven sect in one fell swoop. The Sky Slaughter Formation is the Spirit Heaven Valley's protective formation. It is a set of formations refined by the ancestors of the Spirit Heaven Valley using countless resources. It is slightly different from the formations set up by the Talisman Masters themselves. It is a fixed protective formation that can be moved. The 10 Directions Sky Snake Formation is the Sky Snake sect's protective formation. It is said that it was refined from the bones of 9 ancient sky snakes and the mysterious bones of yellow mulberry. Back then, the Sky Snake sect relied on this 10 Directions Sky Snake Formation to kill many of the top cultivators in the Central Plains and intimidate the entire Central Plains. It is said that these two formations can even kill cultivators of the Great Domain Realm. Even cultivators of the Boundary Realm can only protect themselves if they are trapped in them. The Sacred Array child Jin Qingchun looked ahead and frowned. His expression suddenly became serious as he said to Du Xiaofu, "I have always wanted to study these two formations, but I never had the chance to get close. Give me some time and I will definitely be able to break them. However, it is too late now. Our army is unstoppable and will be killed." As expected, they were prepared. Du Xiaofu's expression suddenly became serious. They were not afraid of the formation, but the desolate country's army was trapped within and could not escape from the trap. "I can also break the formation, but I will have to pay a price. However, I will need some time," Du Xiaoyao said. Golden light surged from her eyes and her spirit eyes released light. Rumble. As Du Xiaoyao's voice fell, the Great Wheel sect, which had been shaking and cracking the ground, began to tremble even more. Endless light streaked across space and time from the sky dome. Endless pressure filled the air and distorted the void for thousands of miles. An ancient aura filled the air. Just as the Spirit Heaven Valley and the Sky Snake sect's formations were formed, it also turned into a terrifying formation that covered the sky. The Great Wheel sect is setting up a formation. "Retreat quickly," Jin Qingchun shouted. His voice shook everyone's ears. At this moment, there was no need for Jin Qingchun to shout. Whether it was Du Xiaofu's formation or the experts from the immeasurable sect who came to watch the ceremony, they had already sensed that something was wrong and immediately tried their best to escape. Some brought their sect's disciples and flew away. There were also experts who waved their hands and tore the space apart to escape. There were even experts who sensed that something was wrong. They activated their secret treasures and other treasures in their bodies, wanting to escape immediately. No one wanted to be trapped in the Great Wheel sect's formation. Even the immeasurable sect and other forces who came to watch the ceremony did not want to be trapped in it. Who knew what would happen then? It was a pity that the formation had already been activated. The surrounding heaven and earth energy was already in chaos. The experts who tore the space apart to escape were also affected and could not tear the space apart much. The experts who fled in the air were also affected and could not travel thousands of miles in an instant. The Great Wheel sect was already prepared and had calculated everything. How could they let anyone escape? In an instant, the formation took shape. The sky was filled with runes and sacred light. Accompanied by the rotation of the sun, moon, and stars, flowers, birds, insects, grass, and thousands of beasts appeared. This scene was incomparably terrifying. It erupted with endless killing intent. Under this terrifying formation, even the martial domain realm experts were terrified and their hair stood on end. Everyone was blocked and could not leave. The martial domain realm experts who were trapped in the distorted formation also had a change in expression. The disciples who were not strong enough were immediately protected by the experts of their respective sections. However, their expressions all changed. This terrifying formation made the martial domain realm experts of the various forces unable to protect themselves. They were instantly trapped in it. This terrifying array was enough to kill even a martial domain realm expert. Du Xiaofu wanted to leave with his people, but he was immediately blocked. Su Muxin, Mu Jianchen, Sima Taxing, Sky Desolation Leopard, Yuzheng Tongxian, and Bailey Wuya did not escape. They were all blocked and trapped at the edge of the formation. This is not good. It's the reincarnation Heavenly Slaughter formation, the Great Wheel sect's protective formation. Rumor has it that the Great Wheel sect obtained it from a mysterious place. It is even more powerful than the Sky Slaughter formation and the ancient Heavenly Serpent formation. Back then, I went to the Great Wheel sect to set up a formation in hopes of drawing out this reincarnation Heavenly Slaughter formation to comprehend it. However, my wish did not come true. The sacred array child Jin Qingchun spoke. His expression became more and more serious. He was a formation expert, so he knew how terrifying this reincarnation Heavenly Slaughter formation was. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, Jin Qingchun waved his hand. A small pagoda floated out of his hand and immediately expanded to the size of a few hundred feet. This pagoda was filled with an ancient aura. There were many ancient engravings and runes engraved on it. It was very mysterious and powerful. It was also shrouded in mist. This was the small pagoda that Jin Qingchun hid in when he was in his primordial spirit body. Let them in. This pagoda can protect us. I will think of a way to break the formation. Or Du Xiaoyao can take us out and think of another way. The sacred array child Jin Qingchun did not hesitate. He stood in the air and activated the pagoda. He stood in the air and faced the terrifying formation. His eyes were like divine lamps, releasing a terrifying and confident light. The sacred array child was not an undeserved reputation. His attainments in formations were extraordinary. It was just that Jin Qingchun also needed time to study this kind of grand array now. In the battle, the sacred array child Jin Qingchun's expression was very serious. This was because he was in the middle of a battle and did not have much time to study how to break the formation. Boom, boom, boom. At the same time, when Jin Qingchun activated the small pagoda in his hand, experts from the Saman Sword sect, Golden Spear sect, Hundred Flower Gate, Ancient Heaven sect, Mysterious Underworld sect, Mysterious Talisman sect, and other forces all activated their mysterious and ancient secret treasures. They formed their own space. If they felt that something was wrong, they would immediately hide in it. They definitely would not be completely unprepared when they entered the Great Luen sect. They more or less had some means of self-protection. Otherwise, how could they enter someone else's nest so easily? Those secret treasures were the most precious treasures of the various forces. Even the experts from the Boundless sect, the Intelligent Sword sect, and the Shindu Gate had powerful secret treasures. It was obvious that they had entered the Great Luen sect to watch the show. They were also on guard against the Great Luen sect. Kik, you want to escape? None of you can escape. Since you dare to enter the Great Luen sect, you must pay the price. Do you really think that the Great Luen sect is easy to break into? Amidst the resplendent light, the eastern mythical scarlet phoenix appeared once more. She was wrapped in runes, and her hair danced wildly in the wind. She swept her gaze over everyone who was currently trapped within the formation. She sneered endlessly, and her eyes were cold. Chapter 1491. Dongli Chihuang, what is the meaning of this? Does the Great Luan sect want to kill all of Kyushu? An elder from the Intellect Sword sect, Ancient Fist sect, and the other factions immediately shouted, his eyes shining brightly. Everyone, you have nothing to do with Du Xiaofu. Don't worry. My Great Luan sect will not do anything to you. Dongli Chihuang sneered as he looked at Du Xiaofu and the others. Hearing this, the people from the Ancient Fist sect, Heavenly Blade sect, Boundless sect, and the other factions relaxed. However, the experts from the Ancient Fist sect and Boundless sect didn't let down their guard. Just the pressure from the formation alone would cause their disciples to explode if they didn't have the protection of a martial domain realm cultivator. They had no choice but to be on guard. I'll say it one more time. My Great Luan sect will let bygones be bygones if you draw a clear line with Du Xiaofu. I only want to deal with Du Xiaofu. Dongli Chihuang sneered as he looked at the people around Du Xiaofu. The Great Luan sect, the Spirit Sky Valley and the Sky Serpent sect, the three major forces had set up 3 great arrays that were foolproof. Even if the hidden old men of the Ancient Heaven sect and the Profound Talisman sect came, they wouldn't be able to save the desolate country, the Profound Talisman sect and the Ancient Heaven sect from being wiped out. However, Dongli Chihuang hadn't expected Kyushu to come from the Beast region. If it wasn't necessary, Dongli Chihuang naturally didn't want to become enemies with the Seimin Sword sect, Heavenly Note sect, and the others. After all, Mu Jianchen, Mu Qingge, and the others still had the support of the older generation of experts. If Mu Qingge, Mu Jianchen, and the others were all killed in the Great Luan sect, the older generation of those sects wouldn't let the matter rest. This was what the Great Luan sect didn't want to see. Do you think a great formation can scare Kyushu? Bailey Wuya stood with his spear in hand, his aura sharp and fierce. The Golden Spear sect also had secret treasures accompanying them. Even if they couldn't break the array, they could at least protect themselves for a while. Do you have the ability to kill all of us? Dongli Chihuang, I'm afraid you don't have that ability. Mu Jianchen straightened his body, and sword phantoms circled around his body. Back then in the sealed ancient land, the evil devil had awakened. Even in that terrifying formation, the demon king Du Xiaofu was still unharmed. Mu Jianchen believed that although the Great Luan sect's formation was powerful with the demon king Du Xiaofu's personality, how could he enter the Great Luan sect without any preparations? Mu Jianchen had an indescribable confidence in Du Xiaofu. Moreover, how could Mu Jianchen, as the alliance leader of the Purifying Evil Alliance in Shang Province, give face to Dongli Chihuang? Humph, then you can't blame me for being ruthless. Dongli Chihuang snorted with an unsightly expression. Mu Jianchen and the others clearly didn't put him in their eyes. If they insisted on joining forces with Du Xiaofu, then he could only solve the problem. If he stayed, there would be even more trouble in the future. Du Xiaofu, the experts of the Ancient Heaven sect and the Profound Talisman sect are rushing over, but they will need time. However, even if they arrive, it will be difficult to break the array by force. We can protect ourselves for a while, but the other disciples are still trapped outside by the great formation of the Sky Snake sect and the Spirit Sky Valley. I'm afraid they won't be able to hold on for long. Sima Ta Xing's sound transmission reached Du Xiaofu's ears. The Ancient Heaven sect and the Profound Talisman sect had already informed the strongest experts in their respective mountain sections. For this trip to the Great Wheel sect, the Ancient Heaven sect and the Profound Talisman sect naturally needed to be cautious and make many preparations. However, there were also many disciples of the Ancient Heaven sect and the Profound Talisman sect in the great army outside. Once the entire army was annihilated, it would be a devastating blow to the great mountain sections. It would be equivalent to a loss of fortune, which would affect their prosperity for thousands of years. At that time, no one could predict what would happen in the great mountain sects during the thousands of years of insufficient fortune. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu's expression became incomparably solemn. This time, Du Xiaofu dared to go to the Great Luan Sect's mountain gate because he was prepared and confident. After going to the Great Luan Sect's mountain gate, Du Xiaofu already knew that he wasn't most afraid of the Great Luan Sect's experts. He had the 4th Elder Jialo Yi and the 5th Elder Jialo Yuan behind him. Presumably, the experts of the Ancient Heaven Sect and the Profound Talisman Sect would also come, and they would definitely be able to deal with it. What Du Xiaofu was most afraid of was that the Great Luan Sect would set up a great formation to capture them all in one fell swoop. How could the dignified Great Luan Sect not have a terrifying protective formation? However, since it was the Great Luan Sect, Du Xiaofu had no choice but to go. Those who offended the desolate country naturally had to pay with their blood. With Du Xiaoyao, the ancient desolate space, and his meridian soul talent, Du Xiaofu was very clear that if there were any unforeseen circumstances, he would be able to lead everyone out of the formation and escape. These ordinary formations wouldn't be a problem for Du Xiaoyao and himself. It was precisely because of his vigilance and confidence that Du Xiaofu led the experts up to the Great Luan Sect. However, he stopped the army outside the Great Luan Sect's mountain gate and didn't immediately attack. What Du Xiaofu didn't expect was that the Spirit Sky Valley and the Sky Serpent Sect would pay such a price this time and move their respective protective formations over. They wanted to annihilate the Desolate Country, the Ancient Heaven Sect, and the Profound Talisman Sect. Right now, they should be able to defend themselves. The ones in the most danger were the Desolate Country, the Ancient Heaven Sect, the Profound Talisman Sect, the Profound Underworld Sect, and the Huan School. Screams of agony came from outside the Great Luan Sect and spread into the Reincarnation Heavenly Slaughter Formation. There were continuous screams of agony as blood mist poured out and countless soldiers exploded one after another. "We need to get out as soon as possible and help the army outside," Du Xiaofu said in a low voice. His expression was getting more and more serious. If they couldn't break the formation, then the army outside would really be annihilated. The people of the Du family, the disciples of the Desolate Country, and the disciples of the World Society would all be wiped out. "You want to leave? Du Xiaofu, you can stop dreaming. Today, you are destined to die. Inside the Reincarnation Heavenly Slaughter Formation, all of you will die. No one will be able to survive." Dongli Chihuang floated in the air, surrounded by resplendent light. At this moment, inside the Reincarnation Heavenly Slaughter Formation, his eyes began to shine again. His spirit was gorgeous, carrying a morbid, gloomy, and extraordinary aura. "You deserve to die." Du Xiaofu spat out these 3 simple words one by one. However, they burst out from the gaps of his teeth. His eyes shone with a resplendent golden light as his voice shook the void. "Ha!" Dongli Chihuang laughed maniacally. His laughter was deafening, causing the void inside the Reincarnation Heavenly Slaughter Formation to distort, causing the expert's eardrums to hurt. Suddenly, he restrained his laughter, and his gaze was cold like a bolt of lightning. He looked straight at Du Xiaofu and said in a ghastly and cold voice, "You're already at death's door, so what qualifications do you have to be arrogant before me? Relying on the demonic beasts beside you?" Dongli Chihuang paused for a moment. He looked at Jialo Jueyu and Du Xiaoyao with a hint of fear in his heart. However, his gaze became even colder, and his expression became even crazier. He continued to shout at Du Xiaofu, "I have reincarnated. In this life, I am the saint. With the comprehension and accumulation of my previous life, as well as the training and opportunities of this life, I am the supreme nirvana. You are just a brat who walked out of a small stone city. How can you be compared to me? You have never had this right. You are just my stepping stone." His words were like thunder, resounding throughout the Great Will Sect. Dongli Chihuang laughed. These words were directed at Du Xiaofu, and also at Cheng Xingnan, who was far behind him. Dongli Chihuang was venting all the resentment and unwillingness in his heart. He was so extraordinary. He was the strongest existence among the younger generation. The supreme nirvana had already proved everything. He had lived 2 lives and had never cared about other women. However, he was infatuated with Cheng Xingnan. Why did Cheng Xingnan not care about him and want to break off the engagement with him? Cheng Xingnan told him that she had already cut off her worldly desires. However, Dongli Qihuang clearly saw that when Du Xiaofu appeared, Cheng Xingnan's eyes rippled. Dongli Qihuang had never seen that kind of gaze. However, she had never let him see it when she looked at someone who had destroyed his empire and killed her Cheng family. To Dongli Qihuang, that feeling was even more unbearable than when Du Xiaoyao and that mysterious young man from the beast race had defeated him in one move. Reincarnation is just a remnant soul taking advantage of the opportunity to revive. At most, you were a loser in your previous life. In this life, you are not living an ignoble life, but you have provoked me time and time again. You have touched my disciples and hurt my friends. Today, I will not let you live. Du Xiaofu stepped out. He was very anxious and his eyes were gloomy. His purple robe fluttered in the wind. Although his eyes were bright, it was as if a golden-winged rock was about to fly out. At this time, Du Xiaofu was thinking that he might have a chance to reverse the situation after he defeated Dongli Qihuang. Moreover, this Dongli Qihuang in front of him could not be allowed to live today. Haha, do you think you still have a chance? Do you think you can do anything to me just because you have roped in some people to join my Great Luin sect? Laughable, truly laughable. You are just a brat from a small stone city, an ant from the border. Even if you have obtained a great opportunity, what can you change? You don't know how strong my Great Luin sect is. You don't know how much foundation my Great Luin sect has. Putting everything aside, I have the entire Great Luin sect and countless years of foundation. What do you have? What do you have that can be compared to me? You are no longer qualified. Dongli Qihuang said in a loud and gloomy voice. She was extremely eerie. Her cold eyes swept across the many figures around Du Xiaofu. She gritted her teeth and said in a loud and cold voice, "Now, all of you can die." Rumble. As Dongli Qihuang finished speaking, the void in the reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation suddenly trembled. Dongli Qihuang seemed to have activated something. In the terrifying formation, the pressure intensified and light poured down as if it was going to bring people into the reincarnation cycle. Suddenly, in the reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation, some people's black hair suddenly turned white and their faces turned old. Finally, their bodies withered and turned into ashes. It was as if they had walked into the reincarnation cycle. At the same time, a large area of space suddenly exploded, and some of the experts were instantly blown away. Du Xiaofu wanted to attack immediately and take down Dongli Qihuang first. However, the formation suddenly went berserk. Under the terrifying aura, Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit, who was sitting cross-legged on the 9 revolutions divine Lei Lian, trembled violently. There was a terrifying energy that devoured the energy and vitality of the body. It was pervasive and strange. Jialo Jueyu, Du Xiaoyao, and the others immediately began to defend themselves. Not good, quick defend. In the face of such an unforeseen event, the secret treasures of the Ancient Heaven sect, Saman Sword sect, Golden Spear sect, and the other sects buzzed. An expert shouted, wanting to protect his sect's disciples first. At the same time, the world suddenly began to tremble. From within the terrifying formation, one could see that in the distant sky outside the Great Luin sect, golden light descended like a sun. At the same time, a loud shout resounded through the sky. Who says he doesn't have the right? What's the Great Luin sect? Behind him, even the master of the Great Luin sect has to be respectful when he sees him. Compared to him, you are not even worth a fart. Chapter 1492. As soon as he finished speaking, golden light shot out from the sky. Rumble. The golden light streaked across the sky with a rumbling sound. Even through the 3 formations, everyone could hear it trembling in their ears. That kind of deafening sound made even the powerhouses cover their ears and have to activate their methods to defend against it. Just the sound alone could ignore the obstruction of the great formations. It was extremely terrifying. In just an instant, 3 huge creatures appeared in the sky amidst the golden light. Wherever the 3 behemoths passed, they truly covered the sky and covered the sun. Their terrifying auras shook the mountains and cracked the ravines, causing the earth to shake and the mountains to shake. The dazzling golden light bloomed in the sky, making people unable to look at it directly. Rumble. Amidst the terrifying aura, just the three huge creatures crossed the sky. How terrifying was that? Inside the reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation of the Great Wheel sect, a martial domain realm expert squinted his eyes and activated his divine ability through the formation. His eyes shone brightly as he tried to pry into the three behemoths descending from the sky. They actually had such a terrifying aura. The three huge creatures instantly appeared in the nearby sky. Each of them crossed an unknown distance. When they flapped their wings, they covered the sky and the sun. The pressure of a supreme being spread out. It was as if three dazzling golden suns had fallen to the mortal world at the same time. Around the three behemoths, the void was crushed and cracked by the pressure. What? That is, some martial domain realm experts activated their divine abilities and looked at each other with the power of their primordial spirit. Some people seemed to have seen the bodies of the three behemoths under the golden light. They could not help but cry out in surprise. Their hearts raced and their souls trembled. Oh my God, is that clan really coming into being? They are coming into being. They are enough to sweep through the world. Even if the 9 great families encounter them, they will have to avoid them. A martial domain realm expert was shocked as if he had seen a ghost. They are coming into being. Dragons and phoenixes will have to avoid them when they see them. The beast domain realm experts were even more shocked. As beast domain realm experts, they were extremely arrogant. However, when they saw the bodies under the golden light, they immediately showed reverence. The invisible power of the golden light was enough to make their beast souls tremble. They wanted to submit and worship them involuntarily. Only Jialo Jueyu, Jialo Kai Ling, Jialo Juekong, and Jialo Jueo were not surprised. Inside the reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation, Jialo Kai Ling and the others did not show any panic. Because they knew that the Great Wheel sect could not trap them today. The three huge creatures heavenly slaughter sky. The golden light, the reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation of the Great Wheel sect. The heavenly sky reincarnation appeared in the heavenly reincarnation heavenly great reincarnation slaughter reincarnation heavenly slaughter of the reincarnation of the three the heavenly slaughter of the heave heavenly slaughter of the heavenly. The two huge creatures on both sides landed on the sky slaughter formation of the Spirit Heaven Valley and the ancient sky snake formation of the Sky Snake sect. Golden light shone in the sky. The golden light shone and the feathers were resplendent. They were three incomparably huge golden winged rocks. These were three real golden winged rocks. They descended from the sky and crossed the space, covering the sky and the sun. Screech! The rocks screeched, piercing through the clouds and splitting rocks. The intense sound waves had already pierced through the void. Walala! The huge golden-winged rocks that swooped down on the Spirit Heaven Valley formation flapped their wings and soared into the sky. Under their wings, there was a destructive hurricane energy. The golden wings were like golden divine blades that crossed the space and directly landed on the Sky Slaughter formation. The huge golden-winged rocks that swooped down on the Sky Snake sect formation flapped their wings and soared into the sky. The claws under their abdomen were curved and flashing with mysterious runes as if they wanted to tear the space apart. The dazzling mysterious runes were like golden lightning that wreaked havoc. Large swathes of space were shattered by the rock claw in a series of rustling noises. The rock's claws were like countless golden lightning snakes that swept out. With an incomparably domineering attitude, they grabbed at the 7 inches of the huge black snake's phantom. Such a terrifying claw print that could destroy the void. Just the pressure that it carried caused fear to flash across the eyes of the ancient giant black serpent formation. In front of the reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation, the largest golden-winged rocks appeared. Its might was also the most terrifying. This golden-winged rocks had a pair of golden eyes that shone with a resplendent golden light like golden stars. From its body that covered the sky, a vast and domineering aura spread out, causing the surrounding space to tremble violently. A majestic might spread out, causing even the space to distort. In the surrounding space, a terrifying energy descended from the heavens and the earth. The terrifying energy emitted from it caused the surrounding space to ripple. Its aura was that of a supremacy. The golden-winged rocks directly attacked. They flapped their wings and soared into the sky, charging over with great pressure and ferocity. At this moment, everyone trapped in the reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation could feel the terrifying supremacy's aura. This was especially so for the beast race. They immediately wanted to submit and worship it. Open! The golden-winged rocks with the strongest aura soared into the sky and directly crashed into the reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation that covered thousands of miles of the Great Will sect. In an instant, vast and mighty energy swept across the sky, causing golden light to splatter everywhere. The golden-winged rocks flapped their wings and broke through the sky. A large area of distorted space suddenly exploded. Rumble! At this moment, the space rumbled non-stop. A shocking aura erupted and shook the sky. The entire reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation trembled. The runes were distorted and then shattered. In the end, it actually cracked. The terrifying reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation, the Great Will sect's sect-protecting formation, was forcefully broken apart. All the experts widened their eyes in disbelief. However, under the terrifying rock's might, they could feel their souls throbbing. The terrifying supremacy's aura pressed down on everyone, regardless of whether they were humans or beasts. They felt like they wanted to kneel down and worship it. The reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation cracked and exploded just like that. At the same time, the Spirit Heaven Valley's sky slaughter formation was also torn apart by the golden-winged rocks that blotted out the sky. The Sky Snake sect's ancient heavenly serpent was in a stalemate within the formation. However, it only lasted for a short while. Then, the golden-winged rocks that blotted out the sky also tore apart the void with their claws. The formation completely exploded. The three terrifying formations, the sect-protecting formations of the three major factions, were directly destroyed by the three golden-winged rocks that blotted out the sky. These three terrifying golden-winged rocks used the most powerful and domineering method to destroy the three formations. How shocking was this? How tyrannical was this divine might? Rumble! The formation exploded. Heaven and earth rumbled and emitted a Tao sound. It was as if heavenly thunder had exploded and shook the 9 heavens. The terrifying energy shot out like a hurricane that swept in all directions. The shattered runes were endless and swept out like ripples. The formation was destroyed. Within the reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation, the people who were under the immense pressure were released. The desolate country, profound talisman sect, ancient heavenly sect, and other armies within the ancient heavenly serpent formation and sky slaughter formation were also released. Bang! 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 However, the formation was forcefully destroyed. Under the terrifying shockwaves that swept out, many armies from both sides were affected and their bodies were blown apart. Even within the reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation, there were experts who were heavily injured by the shockwaves because they wanted to protect their sect's disciples. Golden-winged rocks. Those are real golden-winged rocks. The golden-winged rocks have appeared. The supremacy of the demonic beasts has appeared. On the Great Wheel sect, all the experts looked at the sky. Under the 3 golden-winged rocks that blotted out the sky, all of them had the urge to kneel down. Under the terrifying pressure, the 3 golden-winged rocks that blotted out the sky flapped their wings and circled in the air. They caused the energy of heaven and earth to become chaotic and the world to change. It was as if the space had already been affected by the 3 golden-winged rocks and was already under their control. In front of the Great Wheel sect, countless demonic beasts, including the dozens of experts from the demonic beast clans with extremely high bloodlines and the savage beasts of Tianhuang mainland, were roaring and prostrating under the 3 golden-winged rocks that blotted out the sky. Looking at the 3 golden-winged rocks, Dongli Qiwang's shocked expression froze. In the lineup of the Great Wheel sect, Spirit Sky Valley, and Sky Serpent sect, everyone's faces were filled with misery. It was as if they had been shocked into idiots. On the 3 huge golden-winged rocks, a dazzling golden light spread out in the air. Following that, 3 figures walked out of the golden light. 3 majestic auras filled the air. Du Xiaofu narrowed his eyes and looked at the sky. It was 4th Elder Jialo Yi and 5th Elder Jialo Yuantu. There was also an old man with white eyebrows and a beard. The old man was dressed in scholarly robes. His eyes were suffused with a golden glow. He looked around with interest, but it made everyone's soul tremble. These are the experts of the current era. Just a glance was enough to make one's heart palpitate. How could one not be frightened? The golden-winged rocks were a supreme demonic beast clan. Although it was said that in ancient times, the demonic beasts in this world were revered by Qilins, dragons, and phoenixes. However, the golden-winged rocks were definitely not inferior to the other 3 clans. In this world, there were even other demonic beasts that were rumored to be able to fight against Qilins, dragons, and phoenixes. However, in this world, there were no longer any traces of Qilins. There were too few powerful demonic beast bloodlines, and no one had ever seen them again. They had disappeared in the river of time. Perhaps in the future, those who were fated would have the chance to see them again. 3rd Elder. Du Xiaofu looked at the old man in scholarly robes. He had just broken through the reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation with an incomparably domineering aura. That was the 3rd Elder of the golden-winged rocks. Du Xiaofu did not expect that not only Jialo Kaling and Jialo Jueyu, but even the 3rd Elder had come. Greetings, 3rd Elder. Jialo Kaling, Jialo Jueyu, and dozens of other disciples bowed. You dare to touch the young clan leader of the golden-winged rocks? Kill without mercy. The 3rd Elder spoke. He seemed gentle and refined. In the entire golden-winged rocks, his appearance and temperament were the most amiable. However, at this moment, everything was unexpected. At this moment, the 3rd Elder was in the sky. His body was fluctuating with golden light, and his aura was about to explode the surrounding space. Golden light surged in his eyes, and his divine might was unparalleled. Without any hesitation, Jialo Kaling, Jialo Jueyu, Jialo Juekong, and Jialo Jueyu of the younger generation immediately flew out. Rumble! Everyone exploded with golden light. It was as if golden suns were suspended in the sea of clouds in the sky. Their auras were extremely domineering. Kill without mercy. The eyes of these young men and women from the great golden-winged Peng clan sparkled with golden light. As the golden light from their bodies spread out like the sun, they directly charged towards the experts from the Great Luan Sect, Sky Snake Sect, and Spirit Heaven Valley. Screech! The figures of the young men and women flew out and gathered. They directly activated the true form of the golden-winged rocks. In an instant, dozens of golden-winged rocks appeared in the sky. They were shining with golden light, and their feathers were sharp. They were powerful, terrifying, mysterious, and domineering. Dozens of Supreme Beast Clan auras spread out in all directions. It enveloped the entire Great Wheel Sect. Oh no, they are all golden-winged rocks. Heavens, this world is going to be chaotic. This is the birth of the golden-winged rocks. Young clan leader, so the Demon King Du Xiaofu is the young clan leader of the golden-winged rocks. Chapter 1493. Translator, H2-2 Mr. Kill. Du Xiaofu shouted. The formation had been broken. Many of the desolate country's profound talisman sect's army had been killed. This made Du Xiaofu's killing intent surge out. As soon as he finished speaking, Du Xiaofu's figure disappeared on the spot. Kill! The 18 heavenly generals, the Ghost Chariot, the Zither Devil, the Violent Bear King, the Phantom Tiger King, the Fire Dragon King, the Silver Blood Leopard King, the Divine Ape King, and the others were already prepared. Their auras surged, and their ferocious auras erupted. They directly attacked the experts from the Great Wheel Sect, the Sky Snake Sect, and the Spirit Heaven Valley. Kill! Mu Jianchen, Bailey Wuya, and the others, along with the experts of the major forces, also charged out. The experts of the Ancient Heaven Sect, Profound Talisman Sect, Profound Underworld Sect, and Hahuan School didn't fall behind. Kill! Jialo Kaling shouted. Her beautiful figure surged with golden light, and the void trembled. Her every move was like a rock flapping its wings, sweeping in all directions. Golden energy surged, illuminating the void. Jialo Kaling attacked boldly, killing the experts of the Great Luin Sect, Sky Snake Sect, and Spirit Heaven Valley. Jialo Jueyu swept across the sky, and no one could stop her. The last sealed domain expert of the Great Luin Sect was shocked. He activated a powerful artifact to block Jialo Jueyu's attack. Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, the mysterious WRM King, and the others had all made their moves. All the other domain realm experts also swept out. All the domain realm experts from the various superpowers were enraged when they were trapped by the Heavenly Slaughter formation. Now that the formation was broken, they immediately besieged the domain realm experts from the Great Wheel Sect, Spirit Sky Valley, and Sky Serpent Sect. The battle on the Great Wheel Sect was between the top experts, and it was on the verge of breaking out. In an instant, a buzzing sound could be heard as the surrounding space shook. Roar! The cries of demonic beasts could be heard. Beast souls could be seen, martial veins could be seen, and demonic beasts could be seen activating their bodies. Countless Dharma artifacts and Tao artifacts could be seen. In this kind of battle, dragons soared, tigers leaped, eagles soared, and shattered the sky. Rumble! This kind of confrontation was too terrifying. The vast and vigorous energy collided, and the space was shattered. The runes in the sky shone with a dazzling radiance. The energy caused all living creatures to be alarmed. There were pitch-black spatial cracks everywhere. Bang, 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 a terrifying aura swept across the sky, and a series of thunderous sounds spread across the sky. In the blink of an eye, Du Xiaofu's figure appeared above the Sky Snake Sect's army. Killing intent surged in his eyes as a white divine light surged around him. Boom! The moment Du Xiaofu's figure appeared, 35 formation flags floated in the space between his hands, causing the space in front of him to distort like a fried dough twist, but the light was resplendent. Do you like to set up formations? Then let's see who can set up more. 8 Gates Universe Formation. When Du Xiaofu shouted, the 35 formation flags in his palm instantly swept into the sky amidst the sound of wind breaking. A talisman formation that was several thousand feet in size appeared above the Sky Snake Sect's army, covering the sky and the sun. Boom! The sky suddenly trembled. The terrifying aura that spread out from the formation made the Sky Snake Sect's powerhouses who were besieged on the Great Wheel Sect's side change their expressions. Du Xiaofu had used the 8 Gates Universe formation when he faced the dragons. It was an 8-star Nirvana level talisman formation. It used the Yin Cold Chiman Duanjia, the 8 trigrams, and the 9 palaces of heaven and earth. It contained various magical powers and mysteries, and was condensed by the universe. Once someone was trapped in the 8 Gates Universe formation, only the Gate of Life would be able to escape. The 8 Gates Universe formation, coupled with the 9 palaces of heaven and earth and the power of the universe, was filled with killing intent and danger. Even if a true martial domain realm powerhouse entered the 4 gates, they would have to pay an absolute price if they wanted to come out. Heavenly Dipper 10,000 Killing Formation. In the next moment, Du Xiaofu's figure appeared thousands of feet away. 35 formation flags formed in his palm and flew up into the sky. Another talisman formation that was thousands of feet wide appeared above the Sky Snake Sect's army. Boom! The sky in front of them suddenly seemed to collapse. A terrifying aura spread out, and many figures soared into the sky. However, these powerhouses isolated their auras outside the space. Their figures instantly flew up into the sky above the sea of clouds. Guyu, Tianfeng, does your ancient sky sect really want to shed all pretenses of cordiality and start a war with us? Huaxi, Lei Shi, your sky snake sect started the war first. You want to kill my ancient sky sect's disciples? Do you think we're dead? Muronggying, Wu Ming, why does your dark underworld sect have to get involved in this mess? Lightning Kid, Sha Han, everyone knows that your Spirit Sky Valley is colluding with the Great Will sect. Why do you pretend you don't know? Let's see who's the real deal. Tian Fu, Tian Hun, you two better think carefully. Is the Dark Talisman sect determined to join forces with the Ancient Sky sect? You've already formed the Central State Sky Alliance. Can't you see us joining forces? Lei Shi, I defeated you with one move. Today, I, Ru Kuang, am here to fight again. Ru Kuang, you're just a junior. You're not enough. Lei Shi, are you trying to take advantage of your seniority? Is it enough if I join forces with you? Ru Meng, Ru Kuang, you juniors are too presumptuous. Today, I'll make you regret it. Lei Shi, old man, stop trying to scare others. Pray for your sky snake sect. Rumble. Lightning flashed and thunder roared in the sky. The sky was about to collapse. It was a shocking battle between experts who had appeared out of nowhere. Their battle isolated the space, and they had a tacit understanding not to affect the army below. Ordinary martial domain realm cultivators did not have the qualifications to interfere in their battle. Ru Meng and Ru Kuang are here. Muronggying is here too. The hidden powerhouses of the Dark Underworld sect are here too. Du Xiaofu stared at the sky, listening to the sounds of the terrifying battle. That was the sound of peak experts from the various sects secretly coming here. The terrifying powerhouses instantly clashed. It was the most intense battle. Fire Dragon Burning Sky Array. Frost Killing Array. Earth Fiend Soul Splitting Array. Thousand Beasts Sky Killing Array. After that, Du Xiaofu didn't hesitate at all. His figure shuttled forward again as he shouted. In an unbelievably fast time, several 8-star Nirvana level arrays were set up by Du Xiaofu and thrown into the army of the Central State Sky Alliance. With Du Xiaofu's current cultivation, setting up an 8-star Nirvana level array was a piece of cake. However, the 8-star Nirvana level array was a nightmare for the army of the Central State Sky Alliance. Du Xiaofu had the intention to kill and had come to collect the blood debt. The Sky Serpent sect, Spirit Sky Valley, Great Will sect, and the others' sinister array had completely infuriated Du Xiaofu. He was ready to kill. Rumble. 6 8-star Nirvana talisman formations were thrown into the Heavenly Alliance's army in the Central Plains instantly. Tens of millions of Heavenly Alliance's army were immediately bound and trapped. Countless people's eyes were filled with shock. It was too late for them to escape and they were immediately trapped. The Heavenly Alliance's army of the Central Plains sucked in a breath of cold air. Their hair stood on end as miserable cries rang out. The army of the desolate country and its allies who were trapped in the array were not killed. Under Du Xiaofu's control, there would be no bloodshed. So many Nirvana level array. This is too abnormal. Seeing Du Xiaofu instantly throw out 6 8-star Nirvana killing formations, which covered the vast space and covered the tens of millions of Central Plains Sky Alliance troops, the experts from the Immeasurable sect and the Intelligent Sword sect, who were watching the commotion from the Great Will sect, all sucked in a breath of cold air. 6 8-star Nirvana killing arrays were instantly set up. Without a martial domain realm expert working together, it would be impossible to break them. No matter how large the army of the Central State Sky Alliance was, it would not be enough. Clearly, the experts of the Immeasurable sect and the Intelligent Sword sect did not expect that the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, was not only a terrifying martial Dao expert, but also a terrifying talisman master. Even a sealed domain realm 9-star talisman master would find it difficult to throw out so many 8-star Nirvana killing arrays. Throwing out Nirvana killing arrays one by one was simply too abnormal. What's wrong? You want to break the array? Stay here. Weren't your ancient heavenly serpent array and sky killing array pretty good? Now it's your turn. There was a loud shout in the sky that seemed to be breaking apart. Clearly, it was the 6 Nirvana killing arrays that Du Xiaofu had set up. Even the experts in the Sea of Clouds were alarmed. The experts of the Sky Serpent sect and the Spirit Sky Valley wanted to interfere with setting up the array, but they were immediately stopped by the experts of the Ancient Heaven sect, the Profound Underworld sect, and the Profound Talisman sect. However, this was not the end. The sacred array child Jin Qingchun appeared in the army of the Central State Sky Alliance. Since you like to play with arrays, I'll play with you. Zhen Qingchun appeared in the army of the Central State Sky Alliance and threw the mysterious pagoda in his hand into the sky. As Zhen Qingchun's hand seals were formed, 66 light pillars shot out from the mysterious pagoda in the sky. Boom! When the 66 light pillars shot down, the heavens and the earth trembled and turned into a vast expanse. The spatial energy was boiling. In the end, the mysterious energy of the heavens and the earth formed a terrifying array. It landed around the Great Wheel Sect's mountain gate and enveloped an area of countless miles. Oh no, retreat! The experts of the Great Wheel Sect who were closer to the array immediately retreated. The terrifying power of the array was comparable to the ancient heavenly serpent array of the profound underworld sect and the sky-killing array of the spirit Sky Valley. Retreat! Around the Great Wheel Sect, the Martial Domain Realm and Beast Domain Realm experts who were fighting fiercely didn't dare to be trapped by the formation at this moment and immediately retreated explosively. Boom! The array that Zhen Qingchun had set up was completely formed and it still covered many Martial Domain Realm experts. In an instant, the space around the terrifying array collapsed. The light was so bright that it was difficult to see clearly. There was an endless amount of blood chi gushing out from the array as if it was a sea of blood. This is the six-wheel blood-killing array. This terrifying array has appeared once again. Among the immeasurable sex experts who were retreating, an old monk looked at the terrifying array and felt a chill in his heart. Martial uncle, what is the origin of this six-wheel blood-killing array? Ninefold Spirit asked. His eyes flickered as he also felt the terrifying aura of the array. It is one of the most terrifying killing arrays in the world. It is extremely murderous and incomparably bloody. It is rumored that it is ranked 9th among the top 10 killing arrays in the world. Back then, countless ancient experts were rumored to have died in it. The old monk's heart trembled as he said, right now, this six wheels blood-killing formation should only be at the level of a 9 stars sealed region. However, what is terrifying is not the six wheels blood-killing formation at the level of a 9 stars sealed region. It is that this six wheels blood-killing formation can devour the energy of the living beings within the formation for its own use and become stronger together with the formation's controller. When the time comes, it will be strong enough to kill the most powerful cultivators in the world. The six-wheel blood-killing array is actually so terrifying. Upon hearing this, Ninefold Spirit could not help but feel frightened. It was extremely murderous and incomparably bloody. It could even devour the energy of the dead and strengthen the array holder. How could such a terrifying six-wheel blood-killing array not be terrifying? Array Sage Child Zhen Qingchun is only at the 9-star initial stage, right? He is actually able to set up the 9-star sealing realm-killing array. He is indeed a powerful array master. The old monk exclaimed again. The six-wheel blood-killing array was activated. Murderous aura surged and the runes shone brightly. It was like a terrifying whirlpool of the heavens and the earth, swallowing everything in all directions. Blood-red fog filled the heavens and the earth. It circulated with an ominous aura that corroded one's soul. In an instant, the army of the Sky Alliance in Central Region screamed and wailed. Some martial-honored realm experts from the Great Lun Sect and Lingtian Valley who could not escape in time were swallowed and destroyed like ants. Even the half-domain and true-domain realm experts from the Great Lun Sect, Sky Snake Sect, and Lingtian Valley who were trapped screamed and wailed. Their eyes were filled with fear before they were swallowed and disappeared. The allies who were trapped in the six-wheel blood-killing array were then sent out under the control of Array Sage Child Zhen Qingchun. They had used up some of their spiritual energy and dark chi, but they were unharmed. What a terrifying array! At this moment, Du Xiaofu looked at the frightening killing formation that Zhen Qingchun had activated and sucked in a breath of cold air. He was a little frightened. Compared to this, the few great formations that he had thrown out were somewhat insufficient. Some time ago, Big Brother Zhen Qingchun had said that he wanted to refine something. Du Xiaofu guessed that it should be related to this terrifying killing array. The six-wheel blood-killing array was a peerless killing array. Not only were the people trapped in the array suppressed and killed, but the people around the array were also swallowed. The 6 Nirvana talisman arrays that Du Xiaofu had set up were killing the army of the Sky Alliance in Central Region. However, they were not as many as the 6-wheel blood-killing array that Jin Qingchun had set up. "Ah, save me! Elder, save me!" In the army of the Sky Alliance in Central Region, screams and wails were mixed together. It was like the sound of a demon from hell, which made one's hair stand on end. Use the array to break the array and protect yourself. In the army of the Sky Snake sect, Ling Tian Valley and Great Lun sect, there were experts who shouted. Some talisman array masters took action and quickly set up the array. Kill! Du Xiaofu's figure appeared and moved unpredictably. He was as fast as lightning. Wherever he passed, the talisman array masters who had not finished setting up the array were destroyed. Bang bang! The array that had just been set up was immediately destroyed by Du Xiaofu. Kill! On the Great Wheel sect's side, the forces from Shangzhou and the Desolate Country, as well as the experts from the Beast region, the Savage Beast experts from the Tianhuang continent, and the experts from the Hehuan sect all joined the army. They took the lead in attacking the experts and extraordinary young people of the Heaven Alliance's army in the Central Continent. They also took the lead in breaking some of the small formations that the Heaven Alliance had successfully set up. In an instant, a terrifying massacre began. It was definitely a nightmare for the Sky Alliance in Central Region. The experts of the Sky Alliance in Central Region went all out. They used their Dharma weapons, Dao weapons, martial veins and pulse spirits. They were all going all out. However, they could not withstand the terrifying siege at this moment. Moreover, they were only weaker than their peers. They did not have any advantage. Rumble! Wherever the younger generation of the Du family passed, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. It shook the void and dazzling talisman scripts exploded. These extraordinary young experts of the Du family channeled the thunderclouds and occupied the sky. They poured down the power of lightning and killed in all directions. Even the experts of the older generation of the Sky Alliance in Central Region were killed by Du Shui and the others. This terrifying massacre made the blood of the disciples of the Desolate Country, Ancient Heaven sect, and Profound Talisman sect boil with excitement. They were taking revenge on the Long River in Central Region. They were taking revenge for their fellow sect members who had died in the river. Chapter 1494. Within a short period of time, the Great Lun sect was in chaos. Experts from all sides were fighting each other. The battlefield of martial domain realm experts was even more shocking. The Great Lun sect, Sky Snake sect, and Spirit Sky Valley sent out all their true experts this time. There were at least 10 to 20 martial domain realm experts from each mountain sect. These domain realm experts were usually in seclusion or traveling around Kyushu to comprehend the heavens and earth in order to improve themselves. They were the reason why these huge mountain sects were not able to do so. As long as they were here, the mountain sects would be able to stand tall. The ordinary people of the 9 prefectures didn't know how deep the heritage of the 9 great forces was. To the ordinary people of the 9 prefectures, an expert of the domain realm was a legendary existence. Countless people wouldn't have the chance to see one in their lifetime. At this moment, the 3 mountain sects of the Middle State Heavenly Alliance had about 50 to 60 domain realm experts. In addition, there were martial domain realm experts among the various large and small forces that had sided with the Middle State Heavenly Alliance. There were no less than 10 of them. However, compared to the reinforcements from the Desolate Country, the domain realm experts of the Middle State Heavenly Alliance were still suppressed. It was difficult for them to even escape. Seeing the armies of their respective mountain sects being slaughtered, the domain realm experts of the Middle State Heavenly Alliance could not even take care of themselves. They could not help but be enraged and fight. However, in the end, they could only be suppressed and trampled. Dongli Chihuang was also fighting. His opponent was none other than Du Xiaoqing, who had activated her true body. The Bai Feng divine bird was surrounded by a sea of green and red flames, trapping Dongli Chihuang within. Du Xiaoqing used her remarkable ability to suppress Dongli Chihuang and burn him to ashes. However, although Dongli Chihuang was severely injured, he appeared to be very calm under Du Xiaoqing's suppression. He allowed the raging flames to burn him, but they could not do anything to him. Dongli Qi had the protection of the Nirvana Sovereign Qi, so he could suppress Du Shaoqing. Are you the Nirvana Sovereign? I can use you to train myself. Jialo Juekong urged the huge body of the golden-winged Great Peng to join the battle. Jialo Juekong's target was Dongli Qihuang. He wanted to use Dongli Qihuang's strength and talent to temper his own path of cultivation. With his Nirvana cultivation, Jialo Juekong was able to challenge a Nirvana supremacy. He was indeed worthy of being one of the peak younger generation of the golden-winged Great Peng clan. Under the combined attacks of Jialo Juekong and Du Shaoqing, Dongli Qihuang's supreme Nirvana was also blocked. Sima Taxing Star, Nanli Hun, Fairy Yu, Purple Tianzuan, Venerable Golden Rock, Su Mushin, Desolation Leopard, and the others were all attacking with all their might. Jialo, Ju Yu, and the others from the golden-winged Great Rocks, Du Yu, and Du Shui from the Du clan, were now shuttling through the battlefield. They were all challenging and killing those of a higher level. At the same level, it was difficult for anyone to be a match for Jialo Jueyu and Du Yu. They could instantly kill their peers from the middle ground Heavenly Alliance like ants. The legendary golden-winged Great Peng clan is truly terrifying. They live up to the legends. They can sweep through anyone at the same level. In the distance, an expert from the Intellect Sword sect side. When the golden-winged Great Peng clan attacked, no one could stop them. Those youngsters from the Du clan are too terrifying. They all have terrifying lightning martial veins. They can look down on their peers. Killing opponents of a higher level is nothing difficult. In the Boundless sect, several old monks were shocked. They side with emotion at the Du clan. Those Yao beasts from the Beast region are also terrifying. They're about to wipe out the core forces of the Middle Ground Heavenly Alliance. The experts from the Shindu Gate were shocked by the Ghost Chariot, Phantom Tiger King, and Ape God King. These terrifying Yao beasts were simply slaughtering their way through. Blood stained the surrounding land. Rumble! The battle shook heaven and earth. There were even sealed domain realm cultivators attacking each other. A sealed domain realm expert from the Sky Snake sect was actually blocking Du Xiaoyao. However, despite his sealed domain realm cultivation and the activation of a treasure, he couldn't do anything to Du Xiaoyao, who had activated her redbone horse monkey body. The more he fought, the more frightened he became. He was increasingly afraid of Du Xiaoyao. Jialo Jueyu was also being blocked by a sealed domain realm expert with a treasured sword. Jialo Jueyu activated his true body and released a terrifying aura. He didn't fear the sealed domain realm expert at all, forcing him to retreat step by step. Everyone from the Middle Ground Heavenly Alliance, retreat. Hurry! From the depths of the Great Wheel sect's voice, four figures shot out like lightning. They descended once more, their radiance dazzling as if divine light had descended from the heavens. They called for the Middle Ground Heavenly Alliance experts to retreat. They were 4 old men. Their weathered faces looked as if they'd been baptized by the passage of time for 10,000 years. Their auras were powerful and terrifying. As soon as the 4 old men appeared, they immediately released a boundless pressure that pushed back many martial domain realm experts. When the 4 old men forcefully intervened in the battle, many experts from the Ancient Heaven sect, Profound Talisman sect, and Profound Underworld sect coughed up blood the moment they touched them. The ancestors have come out. Kill them. The Great Wheel sect experts were being suppressed to the point that they couldn't breathe. When they saw the 4 old men appear, it was as if they'd been injected with a cardiac stimulant. They fought with all their might and closed in on the 4 old men. As soon as the 4 old men appeared, their terrifying auras spread through the void, affecting the domain realm cultivators of the various major factions. They trembled under the aura for no reason. The Desolate Country's domain realm experts were affected by the trembling aura and were slightly delayed. This allowed the experts from the Sky Alliance of the Central Plains to seize the opportunity to close in on the 4 old men with all their might. Dongli Qihuang also retreated, not bothering with Du Shaoqing and Jialo Juekong. At this moment, Dongli Qihuang's golden hair was disheveled. His face was ferocious, and his eyes were filled with resentment and anger. The battle on the Great Wheel sect's side paused slightly. However, in a short period of time, several domain realm cultivators of the Middle Ground Heavenly Alliance had been severely injured. A few of their physical bodies had been destroyed, but their primordial spirits had escaped. On the Desolate Country's side, only 2 domain realm cultivators had been severely injured by the Desolate Country's opponents. The other domain realm cultivators were injured, but their injuries weren't serious. 4 terrifying experts. When the 4 experts arrived, Du Xiaofu, who was killing the martial honorables of the various major factions in the Middle Ground Heavenly Alliance, sensed the 4 terrifying auras with his sharp primordial spirit. At least 2 of them aren't weaker than Muronggying. They are the ancestors of the Great Wheel sect, the true foundation of the Great Wheel sect. After Du Xiaofu had crushed dozens of Middle Ground Heavenly Alliance experts, he stood in midair and no one dared to approach him. He was shocked when he saw the 4 auras from the Great Wheel sect. The auras spread out, causing people to tremble. It could even freeze the void. The foundation that the Great Wheel sect had accumulated over the years was indeed terrifying. Du Xiaofu secretly sensed that the other 2 elders had powerful auras as well. They were definitely not ordinary martial domains. You have finally come out. 5th Elder Jialo Yuantu, who was high up in the sky, spoke. After the 4 elders arrived, he didn't hesitate. He immediately struck out with his hand, causing golden light to explode. It was overbearing and powerful. A golden handprint condensed and formed. As it rumbled and trembled in the air, it destroyed the space. With a terrifying pressure, it directly slapped towards the 4 old men. Under the terrifying aura, all the domain realm cultivators of the Middle Ground Heavenly Alliance trembled in fear. This expert from the golden-winged Great Rocks was actually so powerful that they felt that they didn't even have the strength to fight back. Golden-winged Rock Clan, do you think that the Great Wheel sect is easy to bully? Aren't you afraid of Kyushu? One of the 4 elders shouted. Did the Golden-winged Rock Clan think that the Great Wheel sect was an ant? The Great Wheel sect was a great sect that had been passed down for a long time. They couldn't be looked down upon. At the same time, the elder waved his hand and activated a secret technique. It turned into an endless light mist and runes that illuminated the sky above the Great Wheel sect. It blocked the golden light palm print of 5th Elder Jialo Yuant. Bang, bang. However, the collision shattered a large area of the void. The elder was directly knocked down by Jialo Yuantu and staggered back. Bang. Almost at the same time, 4th Elder Jialo Yi also struck out. His red hair fluttered in the wind and his skinny body exploded with endless power. Another elder of the Great Wheel sect rushed out. His aura wasn't weaker than Muronggying's. He collided with Elder Jialo Yi. Bang. However, in the end, 4th Elder Jialo Yi slapped the elder to the ground. The place where he landed cracked and exploded. Rumble. The instant the 4 of them exchanged blows, 2 mountains in the Great Wheel sect had already collapsed. The cracks on the ground spread into the distance. How can they be so strong? The ancestor is at a disadvantage. The expressions of the domain realm experts in the Great Wheel sect changed. They were shocked and enraged. How terrifying were the 2 golden-winged rocks. Even the 2 old ancestors were at a disadvantage after just 1 move. At this moment, the domain realm experts in the Heaven Alliance of the Central State were also afraid. If the 2 experts of the Golden-Winged Rock Clan had attacked them, they would have been killed in 1 blow. Fortunately, the experts of the Golden-Winged Rock Clan were very self-conscious and didn't bother to attack them. That's Ancestor Ming Su and Ancestor Dao Su of the Great Wheel sect. They have lived for thousands of years. I didn't expect them to still be alive. However, they couldn't defeat the experts of the Golden-Winged Rock Clan. An elder who was watching the battle from afar revealed the identities of the 2 elders who had been suppressed by Elder Jialo Yi and Elder Jialo Yuantu. They were the 2 ancestors of the Great Wheel sect. Some people thought that they had passed away, but they didn't expect them to still be alive and well. Quick, ask the ancestor to wake up. Today is a crisis for the survival of the Great Wheel sect. It doesn't matter if it affects the seclusion of the ancient clan. The one who had just been forced back by Elder Jialo Yi was Ancestor Ming Su of the Great Wheel sect. His face was pale, and he looked at Elder Jialo Yi with shock and anger. He immediately spoke without hesitation, wanting to ask the ancient ancestor to wake up. They couldn't resist the two experts of the Golden-Winged Rock clan. If the other expert attacked, they wouldn't even have a chance to protect themselves. Today was a crisis for the survival of the Great Wheel sect. They could only ask the ancestor to come out. Ancestor, is the terrifying existence of the Great Wheel sect still alive? Far away from the battlefield, among the immeasurable sect, the Hui Sword sect and the other forces, the oldest elder's face suddenly changed. Ancestor, please wake up and kill the enemies of the Great Wheel sect. In an instant, the remaining two elders from the Great Wheel sect, who were the last to descend, rushed out simultaneously. A drop of strange green essence blood appeared in each of their hands. The blood essence was crystal clear and shining. It was filled with runes. The two elders immediately formed hand seals. The experts of the Great Wheel sect knelt down as if they were performing a mysterious ritual. The ritual was very strange. It emitted a mysterious power that made Fairy Yu, Sima Taxing, Jialo Juekong, Desolation Leopard, and the others feel something. They didn't dare to stop it. Suppress. However, Jialo Yuan-tu and Elder Jialo Yi didn't have any scruples. They ignored the mysterious ritual of the Great Wheel sect and continued to attack the two ancestors of the Great Wheel sect, Ming Su and Dao Su. Golden light burst out. The sacred light was dazzling and shrouded the sky. The four terrifying experts fought together. The void shattered in the sky, making it difficult for the primordial spirit to see through. Rumble. The surrounding people could only see the shadow of the great golden-winged rock in the sky. The sacred light illuminated the world. Various mighty forces distorted the void and shattered the sky. The sky was filled with pitch-black spatial cracks. Occasionally, dazzling runes would shoot down. It was so dazzling that even the experts of the domain realm didn't dare to look at it directly. The third elder stood with his hands behind his back. After breaking the Great Wheel sect's reincarnation heavenly slaughter formation, he didn't have any intention of fighting. However, he was looking at the depths of the Great Wheel sect. At this moment, the green blood essence in the hands of the two elders turned into runes. It emitted a dazzling radiance and flew up into the sky. This blood essence emanated a dazzling radiance that overlapped with each other like ripples, and it carried a divine and dignified aura as it descended from the sky, causing the experts in the surroundings to feel their souls tremble for some unknown reason. At this moment, a void that was difficult to see with the naked eye appeared in the depths of the Great Wheel sect. It was mysterious and ancient, as if it was isolated from the world. If it wasn't for the blood essence calling out to them, they wouldn't have discovered its existence. Chapter 1495. Walala. In the depths of the Great Luin sect, divine light descended from the sky. Mysterious runes fluctuated and flowed with many mysteries. A pleasant sound wave resonated with time and space, shaking the heavens and the earth. It's him. I didn't expect that terrifying existence from the legends to still be alive in the Great Luin sect. He didn't pass away like the rumors said. The old monk in front of the immeasurable sect was shocked. He seemed to know many secrets of the Great Luin sect. There were also many elders in the Huijian sect and Xindu Gate who looked solemn. Oh no, that legendary existence is still alive. He didn't pass away or die. Sima Taxing, Nanli Hun, and the others looked solemn. The divine light fluctuated and turned into ripples. It was like a soft cloud that spread across the sky. It affected the space-time for no reason and caused the entire space-time to quietly distort. What a terrifying expert! When the terrifying aura filled the heavens and the earth, Du Xiaofu's mind suddenly trembled. He suddenly looked towards the depths of the Great Luin sect. From the mysterious place, a vast fluctuation swept out in all directions. Within the fluctuation of the divine light, the space-time trembled. The aura made people feel that the light was incomparably gentle and comfortable. However, the origin spirit also trembled at the same time. There was a hair-raising feeling. Who is that? What a terrifying aura! I can't resist it. My Xian Qi has been frozen and my soul has been suppressed. The army that was in the midst of a bloody battle also paused at this moment. The terrifying aura affected the space-time of the heavens and the earth. Under many shocked gazes, a giant figure that was thousands of feet tall emerged from the divine light in the depths of the Great Luen sect. The giant figure was like a god that had descended from the heavens. The giant figure was covered in divine light. It was hazy and gave people the feeling that a god had descended to the world. When the giant figure appeared, it was ancient as if it had existed for tens of thousands of years. A pair of resplendent seven-colored eyes were like two twinkling stars that overlooked the world. An expert, a terrifying expert. Du Xiaofu was shocked. The expert was too terrifying. It seemed to have come from the ancient times. Just the pressure that appeared had affected the heavens and the earth, causing the formation that he had set up to crack. Ka. In an instant, the 6 formations that Du Xiaofu had set up began to crack under the invisible pressure before shattering. Du Xiaofu didn't even feel that power. Noiselessly, the 6 great arrays exploded, and shattered runes blossomed. Du Xiaofu spat out a mouthful of pale golden blood, and the charm array was quietly and forcefully destroyed. As the person who set up the formation, Du Xiaofu was immediately affected. Fortunately, setting up the 6-sitting Nirvana Talisman Array was not a big deal for Du Xiaofu at the moment. Therefore, Du Xiaofu did not suffer too much damage. Zhen Qingxuan's 6-wheel blood-killing array was also shaking, as if it was being crushed by some invisible force. Boom! However, a mysterious pagoda floated in the sky, emitting an ancient pressure and emitting the sound of wind and thunder. It protected the 6 wheels blood-killing formation, preventing it from shattering immediately. In the depths of the Great Luen sect, the huge hazy figure's eyes rippled for the first time, and a soft exclamation was heard. The ancient ancestor has come out of seclusion. Among the experts of the Great Luen sect, an elder trembled, and his voice was choked with emotion. Only they knew about the existence of the ancient ancestor, and they knew how powerful and terrifying he was. Dongli Qihuang smiled, looking at the awakened figure in the depths of the Great Luen sect, looking at the terrifying lineup around Du Xiaofu, and said in a gloomy voice, "Those who can't change the outcome can all die. Ancient ancestor, kill those invaders and show the might of our Great Luen sect." In the Great Luen sect, the elders knelt and prayed, begging the ancient ancestor to kill all the invaders. "I've heard of you, but I didn't expect you to still be alive. Do you want to break the boundary by sacrificing your life to preserve your essence blood and upgrade?" Suddenly, a voice was heard, accompanied by a dazzling golden light. The 3rd elder, who had not made a move, moved and slowly walked into the sky. However, at this moment, the 3rd elder's small figure caused the sky to tremble with every step he took. The golden light on his body became more and more dazzling, and the mysterious runes on his body fluctuated. It was as if there was an invisible shadow of a huge golden-winged rock that flapped its wings and circled in the sky. At this moment, the 3rd elder looked like a golden overlord that was walking across the sky. For tens of thousands of years, I've focused on comprehending the Tao, and I've comprehended a little, but I still can't break it. The huge figure's voice was indistinct, and the surroundings began to fluctuate with divine light, turning into countless shocking phenomena. It was as if there were countless shadows of living beings surrounding the area, making the huge figure look like a real god. The resplendent 7-colored eyes looked at the 3rd elder, and a violent fluctuation appeared for the 2nd time. He said, "Golden-winged rock race, are you going to announce that you've come out?" "We're not coming out." The 3rd elder spoke with a calm voice. It seemed less domineering, but it was restrained. The golden light fluctuated and became more and more resplendent. After a dozen steps, the golden light in the surroundings shone brightly, as if a golden sun was in the sky. He looked at the so-called ancestor of the Great Luen sect and said, "The Great Luen sect touched my people, so you should come out. Even if your original master's race is still here, he won't be able to protect you today." "Is that so?" The huge figure was still very calm, and the divine light became more and more dazzling. On the surface of his body, the strange phenomena became clearer. 10,000 spirits were revolving around him, and he was filled with an ancient and boundless aura. He said to the third elder, "The golden-winged rock race is very domineering, and you are very strong. I've comprehended something over the years, so let's fight up there and verify it." The huge figure's voice was calm, but at this moment, it was not difficult for everyone to hear that he wanted to fight. He wanted to fight the strongest member of the golden-winged rock race. "All right then, let's fight up there." The third elder nodded his head. His scholarly robe shook, and he stomped his foot on the void. His figure instantly soared into the sky and disappeared. However, just as the third elder stomped his foot, a majestic and vast energy swept out from his foot silently. It spread across the sky and rushed into the Great Luin sect. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, a large number of mountains in the Great Luin sect cracked, and ancient buildings collapsed, revealing ravines on the ground. There were experts of the Great Luin sect who vomited mouthfuls of blood under the invisible crushing force. The expert of the golden-winged rock race is taking revenge on the ancestor of the Great Luin sect for attacking Du Xiaofu. This is a warning. The golden-winged rock race is indeed domineering. The surrounding experts trembled. They could see that the expert of the golden-winged rock race was taking revenge on the ancestor of the Great Luin sect for breaking Du Xiaofu's array. Therefore, he also attacked the nest of the Great Luin sect. This was a form of revenge by the expert of the golden-winged rock race, and also a warning to the ancestor of the Great Luin sect. At their level, they should not casually interfere with the matters of the younger generation. Otherwise, once the experts of both sides interfered, it would be a disaster and no one would be able to gain an advantage. Although both sides were in a great battle and would not rest until one side was dead, the situation was critical. However, until the final moment of life and death, the strongest experts of both sides still maintained a tacit understanding that they had to abide by. Once the strongest experts of both sides interfered, it would be a complete disaster. The loser would be completely defeated, and even their spiritual souls would be completely destroyed. As for the winner, it would not be any better. The ancestor of the Great Luin sect looked at the third elder of the golden-winged rock race who had disappeared into the sky. For the third time, his eyes flickered, and there seemed to be some displeasure in them. However, they soon calmed down. Chi! Following behind the third elder of the golden-winged rock race, the huge figure also swept into the depths of the sky and disappeared. Rumble! Immediately after, the depths of the sky trembled, and rays of light burst out. From the depths of the sea of clouds, a terrifying aura erupted. It was as if two peerless experts were having an earth-shattering collision. However, the collision occurred in the depths of the sky, and no one could see it. It was obvious that the ancestor of the Great Luin sect and the expert of the golden-winged rock race did not want to plunge everyone into misery and suffering. At their level, if they were to fight below, just a single ripple would be enough to cause calamity to the billions of people inside and outside the Great Luin sect, and turn the Great Luin sect into an abyss of ruins. Therefore, they tacitly chose to fight above. At their level, what they comprehended was the Tao, and what they cultivated was the body. Killing more people would increase the danger of their bodies and souls in the future. They also did not want both sides to suffer and be destroyed. The two peak experts were fighting in the depths of the sky. When everyone looked up, they could only see a terrifying aura surging in the sky. Divine light shrouded the sky, and golden light shot out. Vaguely, there was a supreme aura in the depths of the sky that looked down on the world. It was as if something terrifying would fall from the 9 heavens at any time. It caused people's hearts to tremble, and any muffled sound would make people's hearts jump. Du Xiaofu also inclined his head and stared at the sky. That was a battle between peak experts. The awakened expert from the Great Will sect didn't seem to be any weaker than the 3 elders. This caused Du Xiaofu's heart to turn heavy. Du Xiaofu had never underestimated the Great Luin sect. When he was in the Ancient Heaven sect, Du Xiaofu heard the tone of his senior brother, Sima Taxing. Back then, it was not difficult for him to know that the Great Luin sect was definitely not simple. Their foundation was so deep that even the Ancient Heaven sect could not see through it. Although Du Xiaofu was prepared, seeing so many experts appear in the Great Luin sect, especially the awakened ancient ancestor whose aura was clearly stronger than the fourth elder, gave Du Xiaofu a huge shock. If it was not for the third elder's arrival this time, the situation would not be so good. Du Xiaofu had thought a lot about going to the Great Luin sect this time. With the current strength of the desolate country and the world society, going to the Great Luin sect was not a wise choice, even with the help of the ancient heaven sect. However, he had to take revenge. Although the desolate country and the world society did not have the foundation of the Great Luin sect and the Sky Serpent sect, Du Xiaofu knew that if he did not show his stance after returning this time, no one would take the desolate country and the world society seriously in the future. This time, with his return, the entire central continent was probably waiting to see his stance. Concealing one's strength and biding one's time was the most important thing for the desolate country and the world society. With the talent of the Du family's disciples who had awakened their martial veins and the help of countless talented people around them, perhaps 1,000 years later, they would have the strength to go against the Great Luin sect. Within 1,000 years, Du Xiaofu felt that he should be able to reach a new height that he could only look up to now. However, 1,000 years was too long. There were too many things that could not be waited for 1,000 years. Legalism had separated his family, tricked him into opening his chest and digging out his heart, and the devil religion had captured his master. Du Xiaofu could not wait for 1,000 years. Du Xiaofu wanted to build his own wealthy family to go against all of these. He could grow while concealing his strength and biding his time. He could also sing loudly and step out while conquering the world. These were two paths, two choices. Without a doubt, without the great golden-winged rocks behind him, Du Xiaofu could only choose to bide his time and bide his time so that he could rise in 1,000 years. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.